check. Microphone check. Holy smokes. Happy hump day, everybody. Good to be back on another glorious hump day here in Mesa, Arizona. The sun is shining. The rain has gone away because the weekend's over. And why the fuck not? Why not just have rain muted? Don't, Yukon, mother. I don't like that. I don't like it when you play that muted game with me. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I do not like it at all. I'm unmedicated today. I'll be heavily medicated tonight for date night with Admir, but we've got a shortage in ADHD medication, and also for some reason the doctor that I use, or I guess the place I use to go see a doctor, they are no longer trusted by CVS or Safeway. So I don't know. I might have a bad doctor. This might be Dr. Jinx. I'm not sure. I might have a bad doctor, but I can't get medicine. So raining in Chicago right now. That's gonna suck. Rain and ice. It's gonna get cold. How medicated will Admir be? I don't know. I don't know, but I think at some point he's gonna crash out. Damn, is that an alley doctor? Your doctor was raided last month. What's going on with the doctors? I don't know. Not RFK approved. That's right. They were giving out too much Tylenol with my doctor. I don't know what's going on. It's been, in fact, let me look real quick. I've been texting back and forth with the provider. And then they were like, hey, they were trying to find me a pharmacy. And they were like, yeah, what about Target? And I was like, fuck, the people that watch the show are going to be mad. But they're like, actually, never mind. Target is also a CVS. So can't go to Target, can't go to Safeway. Let me actually take a look real quick. We're going to do some personal activities right now and see if I got an answer yet, if I have one. No, still no answer. So that's pretty cool. So enjoy today's show. It could be hectic. I might have a hard time staying on topic. So maybe you guys work up the Republicans in the chat today and see if we can get them up here talking. Once I have a conversation going, we'll be okay. But our favorite pollster, Harry Enton, back at it. You're not going to like this one. I'm just going to tell you right now, you're not going to like this poll. I'm not 100% sure what to do with this poll yet. I have some thoughts, but here's Harry Enton. First thing I do want to say, actually, about this poll is not a scientific poll. This isn't even a poll at all. This is betting markets. This is from Kalshi. And one thing to know about betting markets is, like, as a former professional sports bettor, the markets are set in a way in sports betting so that you get equal bets on equal sides. On Kalshi, it's literally just like, who do you think is going to win? So we have no idea who's putting these bets down. And the odds shift based on how much money is on one side. And money isn't votes, right? So you could potentially have, if you had 100 people on Kalshi and 99 of them thought that Democrats were going to dominate the primaries, and one thought that Republicans were going to dominate the primaries, but the 99 each put in $1 and the one put in $100, that would shift the odds, right? Then it would look like almost a 50-50 toss-up. If it was 200, that would look at like a 60-40, 70-30 race. So anyways, just so we understand what we're looking at here, this isn't a poll. This is from betting markets.
You go back 6 months ago, you go back to April, Cape Baldwin, what were we looking at? Well, we were looking at the Democrats with a very clear shot of taking control of the U.S. House of Representatives, according to the Kalshi prediction market odds. We saw them at an 83% chance. But those odds have gone plummeting down. Now we're talking about just a 63% chance, while the GOP's chances up like a rocket, up like gold, up from 17% to now a 37% chance. So we'll look like a pretty clear likely Democratic win in the House come next year. Has become much closer to a toss-up at this point, although still.
You want to get conspiratorial? So this is what happened in the markets for the presidential race. Early on, it was Biden, then it was Harris, and then actually when they switched to Harris, the betting market completely flipped, and you saw massive amounts of money get poured in there. If you want to be conspiratorial, you would say that if somebody has the ability to change votes in an election, they would wait until the odds were in their favor so they could bet. So if you saw that the GOP had a 17% chance and you knew that you were going to be able to flip those votes, now's a good time to invest that money because you're going to get a better return.
Slightly leaning Democratic.
What's changed? What are you seeing?
Okay, what has changed? Well, why don't we just take a look at the national picture first? Take a look at voters and how they're feeling about things. And we can take a look at the generic congressional ballot. And I want to take a look and compare it to 2017.
Now, this is polling. Now we're using Enton's aggregate, which is from 538. This is an aggregate of all polls. So now we're looking at actual polling.
2018, right? Because that's sort of the baseline. That was, of course, the first Trump term. That was where Democrats were sort of keeping pace. You go back to April, look at the generic congressional ballot. What you see? You see +3 Democrats in 2025 in April. You see +3 Democrats back in April of 2017. Now jump over to this side of the screen. What happens? Well, the Democrats.
I see what you're saying there. That's because of redistricting or because of the Voting Rights Act that the Supreme Court's going to hear today. I don't know. Because this is polling. I don't think most people know that. I would imagine that like most Americans have no idea that the Supreme Court is going to hear the Voting Rights Act today. And I think most of them, I don't know. I bet if I talked to any of my friends about like redistricting, they wouldn't know about that. So I see what you're saying, that would improve your chances. But I don't know that would really change the polling here. I don't know if enough people know about that.
Democrats are no longer keeping pace with the pace that they were setting back in 20.
Larry, I see you, bud. Don't come in here and spam the same thing. Zero. Larry, if you say Dems have a 0% chance of winning, then you're just dumb. Like, of course they have a chance of winning. Republicans have a chance of winning. Don't say dumb things, Larry.
2018. You look back in 2017, you saw that the Democrats had leaped up to an 8-point advantage. I remember covering this. I remember a lot of folks, including myself, saying, you know what, Republicans look pretty decent right now in terms of the fact that they had the House, they had the Senate, they had the presidency, but things were likely going to flip. And I was looking for the same signs this year. The bottom line is it hasn't happened, Kate Ball. When it hasn't happened, Democrats have stayed basically steady. They have fallen off the pace. Democrats were way out ahead back in 2017 on the generic congressional ballot. And now we're basically looking at Democrats ahead. But again, they are so far in back of the pace that they set back there. And so I think
what's crazy about these numbers now is like in 2017, you did see like Trump came in and the Trump people think that shift is because people hated Trump. No, the reality is like things weren't going super well for Trump. The economy, most economists said we were headed towards a recession. Which got staved off by a bunch of different stimulus during COVID, so we didn't wind up having that recession. It just got delayed. Like in 2017, there was a messaging blitz by Democrats that made sense. That's why you saw that shift. The material conditions now, the reality that we all live in now, is significantly worse than it was in 2017. And we can't raise those poll numbers. And whatever people want to say, like, this isn't because Donald Trump's doing well. It's not because Republicans are doing well. It's because Democrats are absolutely useless right now. They're not doing anything. They're not giving us any hope. I don't think any of you feel, maybe I'm wrong, but to me, I don't get this sense from this audience that anybody thinks Democrats are doing a good job right now. I don't think anybody's like real proud of our elected representatives and what they're doing. We might like them. We might personally like them. We might like some of the things that they say. We might like some of the policies that they advocate for. But I don't think very many people are proud right now of how the Democrats are performing. And so I think that's reflected in this polling. Like these are just hardline Democrats, which like +3 is kind of pretty normal. That's kind of like the demographics of this country. This is just like generic Democrats saying we're still going to vote Democrat. But there's no excitement there. To be at +3 right now is pretty embarrassing.
Folks are seeing, folks like myself are saying, wait a minute, given what we might be seeing in redistricting, is this +3 going to be enough, Kate Baldwin?
Well, that's what I was going to ask. One change from that cycle is also this mid-decade redistricting effort that we've been covering so much. You add that in, and what do you get?
Okay, so we add that, and we take a look at the national picture, but then we, of course, taking a look at the state legislators, right? They are potentially changing things, and there are two things that are going on here. First off, net mid-decade redistricting gains. If both sides max out at this point.
Dan, what would you say the 80-20 issues that Democrats are on the wrong side of? You say that they're on the wrong side of every 80-20 issue. I don't know if I agree with that. I think maybe some I can't think of any off the top of my head, but give me some examples, Dan, of 80-20 issues that Democrats are on the wrong side of.
There are more Republican gains possible than Democratic gains. Yes, the Democrats might try to counter a Texas and a California, but you go along in the different states, and basically Democrats run out of room where Republicans are able to gain and gain and gain. If both,
especially with the redistricting, right? This is, I mean, we're just done with democracy. Just so we're clear about this. All of these redistricting things that maybe Republicans are celebrating, maybe you don't. I'm saddened, honestly, by the Republicans who are celebrating the redistricting and not fighting against this. Specifically, if you live in Texas, I don't care what party you're affiliated with in Texas. If you live in Texas and you see what they did, they literally took a seat away from somebody just by redrawing lines. They took Jasmine Crockett's seat away. And if you're that person, that's disappointing. If you're the person who celebrates that, it's incredibly disappointing. And you've lost your ability to talk about democracy and about freedom and about voting. It's all just like a team sport to you. But like that's the state of America right now, is we are undoing democracy. And then California's going to follow suit. Illinois is going to follow suit. Florida, I mean, Florida's already gerrymandered up the ass, and they're going to do it even more. You're going to see it, I think, in North and South Carolina potentially. What sucks about all of this is we're looking at these gains, and the GOP's path to retaining the House is mostly like telling the American people, we don't trust you enough, so we're going to take away your ability to vote in people, and we're going to rig this game for the GOP. We'll see still. A lot of these places that they're talking about, the +7, a lot of these are like lean red. We've seen since Trump took office, lean red districts have swung very hard to Democrats. So we'll see.
Sides max out, we're probably looking at a GOP gain of +7 House seats. That doesn't even take in.
Yeah, Gary, redistricting is perfectly legal. Like, understand what I'm saying. Something can be legal and also wrong, right? So in Texas, for example, Trump won, like 55% of the vote? And yet Republicans now are going to have virtually every seat. They're going to have like 90% of the seats in Texas. That doesn't represent Texas, right? That just represents Republicans. So you can say things are perfectly legal, but I think you're proving my point here, is that you don't give a single solitary fuck about like everybody's voices being heard. You don't mind democracy being undermined when it favors you. If this was reversed, if Texas was blue, and you lived in Texas, and it was reversed, and suddenly, like, your party got 45 to 48% of the vote, and you're like, all right, great, we should get 40 to 45% of the delegates, and then you get 10%, you'd be like, what the fuck? This is obviously bullshit. I mean, it's not about being legal or not. Like, you can do things that are legal that don't make a lot of sense, for fuck's sake. Slavery was legal in this country for a long time. I know, based on leaked text messages from young Republicans, maybe you guys are still on board with that. But at least until recently, you guys pretended that you weren't on board with that. I'm just saying, like, from a democracy standpoint, no matter how this shakes out, I'm not going to change my mind if the Democrats win. I'm not going to change my mind if the Republicans win. This is bad. It's bad in every situation. What Texas did is created a domino effect that is stripping our rights. Everybody in here that lives in one of those states, you all have less rights as a voter. Whether it goes your direction or not, you have less rights. Your vote matters less. It is less democratic. And if you're not frustrated by that, that's fine. But like that makes sense for where we are as a country. That's why our country's fucked. Because we'd rather play a team game than like have an honest to God democracy. Bingo card. Somebody's going to tell me right now that we don't live in a democracy. So have your bingo cards out. Somebody's going to say we don't live in a democracy. Go.
Into account the potential gutting of the VRA that is right now going to be in front of the Supreme Court. If you add that in, you could be looking.
The Voting Rights Act.
What? Yes, exactly right. The Voting Rights Act. If you add that in, then you could be looking about adding 10, 12, 15, 17 on top of this 7 seats. So I think a lot of folks like myself are looking at this. We're seeing, hey, wait a minute. Those national polls are Democrats are not gaining the way that we expected. Then you add in the fact that the state legislature.
It's crazy that you guys think I'm cherry picking anger. You understand that I am saying Democrats and Republicans are both wrong right now, right? You understand that. This is how fucked we are. I'm saying that both, like, this is a bad deal for our country, and it's just overwhelming, like, Democrats bad, Democrats were the party of slavery, Democrats did this first. Like, you guys are fucking broken. You're all fucking broken. You get that, right? I'm pointing out something that is like, there's a hole in the road. I'm like, there's a hole in the road. And you're like, yeah, it's probably the Democrats that did it. This is a big problem for a democracy. And I'm literally saying it's Democrats and Republicans, and you guys can't get out of that. You can't get out of like, oh, it's not both people, it's only one side. This is why they're able to do this, because you guys are goddamn fucking lazy. Goddamn fucking lazy. You just want to win. It's a game to you. You don't understand the repercussions of this. Do you want to live in authoritarian dictatorships? Apparently so. Apparently so. If they can do this and strip away these rights and you support it, what other rights are they going to be able to strip away? What if you turn on the Republicans at some point? What if Liz Cheney takes over the GOP? And you're like, fuck, I don't want Liz Cheney. Uh-oh, sorry. Your states have been gerrymandered to fuck. So you're going to if Liz Cheney wins, all the people in your district, they're going to be forced to be like Liz Cheneyites. That's where we're in. I understand that you guys all worship Donald Trump right now, and I understand that you don't care about this right now, but down the road, it's going to fucking matter to you. And down the road, you're going to look at a blue state when this flips, and you're going to be like, oh, they're gerrymandering, and you'll talk about it. And you won't even think for 1 second about when we had an opportunity to all speak out about this, we just let it happen to us. It's like, go ahead. I love Donald Trump so much that this is okay.
Are adding potentially more GOP seats like they've already done down in Texas, like they've done in Missouri. And then you add in the potential gutting of the VRA, and all of a sudden it becomes much more difficult for Democrats to gain, especially given that they are not keeping up with their 2017, 2018 pace.
And as you said, that also makes it difficult to compare it to past examples in history, because this is such a different new landscape that we're looking at.
It's a different new landscape, and we're not quite sure how much Democrats will have to be ahead in the National House vote in order to gain control.
All right. Thank you, Harry.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So we'll see how it shakes out. I'm going to do a breakdown, I think, probably next week. I'm going to start going through the seats that are open, and I want to get a better number. I see what the potential is there, and those numbers are based on leanings. I want to see what the best case scenario for each party is. I'll try and get to that next week. One thing that Trumps do better than anything is use and abuse other people's pain for their own gain. I showed a clip yesterday from Eric Trump with Benny Johnson talking about how because Trump beat Hillary Clinton, that must mean he's called of God. Now here he is selling his book by using Charlie Kirk. Nobody in this country has been more disrespectful to the legacy of Charlie Kirk than Republicans, who continuously use his name and image and likeness to sell their dumb shit. Here's another example.
Destroy us. And yet here we are, and we have this amazing piece, deal on Charlie Kirk's birthday. I can't tell you how many things are lining up. I mean, think about the fact that this book came out on Charlie Kirk's birthday, on the same day as we have peace in the Middle East.
All these things are very important. Charlie Kirk's birthday, a peace deal in the Middle East, and of course, my fucking book. So it seems like God's telling you to go out and buy this book, says Eric Trump.
I mean, so many different factors are all coming together at once in the most unthinkable, unbelievable journey. You couldn't have scripted this. You could not. The wildest author could not have scripted this book and the trials and tribulations and twists and turns.
Hey, we got a, sorry to cut this off, Crispy. I assume that you are one of the 8 people who are fans of that one dumb fuck that I just debated. You still don't understand the argument there, Crispy. You understand that, right? Nobody said you can't look at Biden's economy for any year he's in office because of COVID. It's that you have to remove COVID from both Trump's presidency and Biden's presidency to analyze. And you can't really do that, right? Because COVID was throughout both of their presidencies. So if you use like a regular, like the median, and you compare the two and you use the median, then you get better numbers for Biden. I'm not surprised that none of you understood any of this, and you should stop following dumb fucks who are just angry incels.
To get to where we are today, and look how much better humanity and our world is. We're saving Christianity. We're saving God. We're saving the family unit. We're saving this nation. I mean, DEI is out the window, Benny. I mean, you no longer have Colin Kaepernick kneeling for the national, for the national anthem. You no longer have, a Budweiser.
Bro, what the fuck? The world is better. God, this is
going
insane.
Woke as hell.
He's out here selling a book, and the only thing they can come up with that Trump is doing well is somebody else negotiated peace deal, and Colin Kaepernick's not kneeling. Why aren't you talking about jobs, Eric? Why aren't you talking about housing, Eric? Why aren't you talking about the impending economic collapse, Eric? Why aren't you talking about manufacturing, Eric? Why aren't you talking about farming, Eric? This is what they're running. Colin Kaepernick has been out of the league for like 6 years now. They're going back 6 years to find the good things that are happening under Trump. All of these things are converging. Things are just getting so much better for all of us.
All of this is dead. And yet, what do we have? We have a return to people going to church. We have a return to people, valuing their children and valuing society.
We didn't used to value our children, guys. People were just throwing away their children. But now we value our children. And people are going to church more now. Thanks, Donald Trump.
And believing in the white picket fence and what the American dream represents and what the American dream stands for, and American exceptionalism and peace around the world, and that people can coexist with one another without having to, pick up arms and destroy each other for no reason whatsoever other than, incompetence.
I've written as many books as Eric Trump has written. You think he wrote this fucking book? Are you out of your goddamn mind? They have ghostwriters and they release these books all the time, and it's going to be dog shit.
And egotistical governments. It's a beautiful time, and he will go to heaven for all of that. God absolutely guided this journey in ways that you'll learn and under siege. I mean, it's a big part of
in my book you'll find out how direct quote from Eric Trump is, "We saved God." That's a direct quote. We, the Trump family, saved God. That's cool, right? Where's my Christians at? Christians, tell me about how Trump saved God. Why did God need so much help? Isn't that guy supposed to be all powerful? Isn't he supposed to be in control? Doesn't he do everything? Doesn't he know everything and he does everything? The Trump administration, Trump, God. That's legitimately your party. You guys, you listen to Trump more than you listen to God. I've dealt with this throughout with my family and all my MAGA friends that were part of a religion where they abandoned their religion because Trump said something different than what God said. And they're like, you know what? Maybe this Christianity thing isn't for me. I better follow this Trump guy. They literally said they saved God. If a single Democrat ever said something like that, even if they stumbled over their words, you would not let it go forever. I just want to know. I'm going to stick on this. I need you guys to explain to me, Republicans, how did Trump save God? Or is Eric Trump wrong? Those are your two options, right? Either Eric's wrong and Trump didn't save God, or I need you to tell me how Trump saved him. God just needed saving from God. To be fair, Trump exists. That is fair. Trump did exist. They gave God a spaceship. The Christians are just screaming at me, liar, bullshit, I feel sorry for you. Explain it to me, please. We're going to sit here. We're going to sit here until one of you explains how Trump saved God. How'd that happen? What did he do to save God, folks? Thank Trump for God. Who was ever talking about God before Trump? Every president ever. Trump's the first non-Christian president we've ever had. He entered office not as a Christian. Get that, right? He was just faking it. Every president has talked about God. It was one of the things I hated the most about all of them. Like, stop talking about God. We don't want to talk about God. But every president literally talked about God. Joe Biden went to church every fucking week. You've never seen Donald Trump in church, but once again, how did Trump save God? All right, let's see. I'll pull it up. Who said Trump saved God? Eric Trump did. I'll pull it back up for you. Make sure I got the right one. I have two different ones. Let me scroll down. I didn't put it on the outline today. I thought you guys would know this. I should have known that MAGA didn't know that. Is it this one?
Here we are, and we have this amazing peace, deal.
Yeah, here it is.
On Charlie
It was just that same one that we played.
Destroy us. And yet here we are, and we have this amazing peace, deal on Charlie Kirk's birthday. I can't tell you how many things are
Hey, he's the president, you dumb fucks. Who do you want me to talk about when they're not the president? Talk about somebody who was president 10 years ago, not the one that's currently president.
lining up. I mean, think about the fact that this book came out on Charlie Kirk's birthday, on the same day as we have peace in the Middle East. I mean, so many different factors are all coming together at once in the most unthinkable, unbelievable journey.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. We don't believe it.
You couldn't have scripted this. You could not. The wildest author could not have scripted.
They're scripting it right
this
now.
book and the trials and tribulations and twists and turns to get to where we are today. And look how much better humanity and our world is. We're saving Christianity.
Oh.
We're saving God. We're saving the family unit. We're saving
Not saving Christianity, saving God, and saving the family unit. Sorry, I didn't do it all. How did he save Christianity, save God, and save the family? Well, he said things about trans people. Want me to play it again? Isn't this blasphemy?
to where we are today. And look how much better humanity and our world is. We're saving Christianity. We're saving God. We're saving the family unit. We're saving this nation. I mean,
How'd they save God? How did he do it? You guys you've all called me names now. You all called me a liar. You all said bullshit, even though I had already played it for you. Should we again? How did Trump save God? Yeah, I would say that's blasphemy. Lying about gender is a sin, and no sin is worse than another. Both parties are sinners. Womp womp. You're just kind of no. I'm just wondering how they saved God. If you don't think they saved God, just say Eric Trump is wrong. Don't do both sides. This is why we're doing this. It's an exercise to see if you are capable of honesty. What I've seen from all of you so far is talking about other presidents and talking about both sides. Tell me that Eric Trump is wrong, that Donald Trump didn't save God. That's all I want to see. Tell me Eric Trump is wrong. Trump didn't save God. That's all I want to say. I just want to see if you guys are capable of being honest at all, or if Donald Trump is actually at the top. I just want to see it. Lost souls. Yeah. Just keep attacking me. There we go. I'm an idiot. Nothing will ever make you admit it. Okay. Got it. More attacks on me. God is not saved by Republicans, or how do they say? All right. That's not, that's Eric Trump is wrong. You're on our side. Don't call me names. You can call me names. I just want to see if any of you are honest. None of you. Larry, you are such a fucking coward. Eric has an opinion. Say he's wrong, you silly little bitch. Just say it. Why is this so hard? Why is it so hard for you guys to say something bad about the not even bad, just like they're wrong? How none of you can say it? None of you can say Eric Trump is wrong? He has an opinion. His opinion is different than ours. All opinions are welcome, unless it's an opinion I don't like. I'm taking it too literally. That's my fault, guys. I'm taking it too literally. What did he mean then? How am I supposed to take it? This is actually wild to see in real time. This is crazy. God's a Republican. I'm looking. Not one of you. Melissa said he did not save God. God saved him. I appreciate that. Nobody can save God. Mostly because he's not real, I think. But yeah, more attacks on me. More attacks on me. He saved God by letting the people believe in him without being jailed or killed. Oh, okay. During the Biden administration, if you talked about God, you got thrown in jail or got killed. Thanks, Donald Trump, for saving us from that. The victim complex is strong with you folks. You wake up every day just wanting to be victims. It's all fake too. Everything that you think is happening to you legitimately isn't happening. None of it. All right. I don't want to read about that leaked group chat just because I knew that. We all knew that. Every time we get a Trump supporter up here and they lose a debate, they yell racial slurs on their way out every time. So like none of us are surprised that there's a Republican group chat where they all use racial slurs and call black people monkeys. I think when like if I wanted to watch monkeys play with a ball, I'd go to the zoo, something like that. None of us are surprised by that. You guys you're either like openly racist or you're just like apathetic to racism. It doesn't bother you at all. It's like, it's not hurting anyone because it's not hurting you, and that's how you live your life. I just wanted to point out that these people are exactly what I thought they would look like. They're exactly. They're all Rob Noah clones. I'm angry at women and people who don't think I'm cool. So I find a niche full of other people who hate women and have no friends, and we all get together and we scream about things. This is Rob Noah's entire fan base right here. They're exactly who I thought they would be. Just angry at the world for no fucking reason. But I do want to show you this. Check out this ICE stop here. Racism is alive and well in America.
For what? What are you pulling me over for?
Sir, we're with the Department of Homeland Security.
What are you pulling me over for?
It's an immigration-related investigation.
Okay, so am I an illegal immigrant?
Okay.
Let's make something very clear. Does Homeland Security have the authority to conduct traffic stops? No. They have no authority to do this. This is unlawful. This is unconstitutional. They cannot stop you for a traffic violation. It's not okay. They also aren't allowed to stop you because you are driving while looking Mexican. And that's what you're going to see here.
I need to see your driver's license.
So what are you pulling me over for?
Do you have?
Because I'm Hispanic?
License? Where's Bravo?
This is crazy.
You'll see in a second, too, like there's a guy that comes in off screen, tries to bait him into saying something so that they can arrest him.
I knew some shit like this was gonna happen to me, cause I'm fucking Mexican.
Oh, sorry, Jen.
Mexican national?
Yeah, motherfucker. I look Mexican, don't I?
Were you
So
born?
you're a Mexican national?
Were you born in
I'm
Mexico?
Mexican.
Were you born in Mexico?
No, I wasn't fucking born in Mexico. I just told you I was born here.
Well, then why are you saying you're a Mexican citizen and national?
Yeah, you can do it at the border, dumb fuck. They can't pull you over. They cannot pull you over and ask for this. Like the stuff you guys will justify. I don't know why I'm even surprised anymore. This is racist. It's unconstitutional. You guys are fascists. That's just what it is. If this wasn't a Mexican person, if this was somebody on their way to church, you'd be like, oh, these are attacks on the church. You don't care if it's a brown person. This is insane. This is Gestapo shit. He got pulled over he's an American citizen. He has the same exact rights that you and I have, and he gets pulled over without a violation, and they demand to know, and then they try and trap him. While he's like, multiple people are talking there, like, oh, you're a Mexican national. He's like, I'm Mexican. They go, oh, so you're a Mexican citizen. He didn't say he was a Mexican citizen. He didn't say he was a Mexican national either.
Well, then why are you saying you're a Mexican citizen and national?
He didn't say that, did he? The other thing that we have to remember about these ICE people and all racists is racism is like a small-minded idea. When you are racist, like I think if we examine the brains, you just be like, oh, these are just dumb people. They're just really dumb people. They don't understand evolution. Like, we look different because of where we went. Right? The human beings all go back to like one group. The reason our skin is different, the reason our hair is different, the reason our eye color is different is because of where our ancestors grew up. But they all started in the same place. So if you have darker skin, it's likely that your ancestors lived in a hot place closer to the equator where the sun was shining longer hours during the day. And if you have very pale skin, it's almost certain that your ancestors went north and they were in places where the sun didn't shine that much. And naturally, it evolved. And if you're a fucking dipshit, you've decided that like, skin color must relate to IQ. Skin color must relate to people's ability to process information. It doesn't. It's just where your ancestors went, and it's mostly like weather related. It's mostly sun related. That's why people look differently. So we now have this scenario where you got a bunch of racist Republicans who think that just because you were born with a skin color because of where your parents decided to live, that you're better than somebody else. That is a dumb way of thinking. I want to be clear, like, it's hateful, it's gross, it's all those things. But before all of that, you have to be a fucking dipshit to be a racist or just uneducated. It's a very, very lazy way of thinking, and that's what we have here. And the ICE agents that they're hiring, nobody wants to work for ICE unless you're like a dipshit racist. So now everybody working for ICE is just a dipshit, angry racist, which is what we have here.
I said I'm a citizen?
You said you're Mexican.
Bro, I literally just said I'm Mexican. My parents are Mexican.
So what's your name?
Alexis.
I don't answer questions.
All right, that second part. The second part here is just like these two white dudes screaming at somebody. And these are very popular. These types of videos are very popular. These are two conservative men screaming at Border Patrol. I don't want to say it because, like, these guys lose their minds. But this video has millions of views and a bunch of people in there like, these fucking police are tyrants. And then the same people just don't comment on this video. It's not, it's a tyrant
I actually don't.
here, but it's not a tyrant here. There's only one difference that I can really see, except for in this second video, they're at a checkpoint. They're at a like, if I live in Arizona, so I'm in a border state, there's checkpoints from the border all the way within like for like 100 miles. So if I go down to like Nogales and I'm coming back, I'm going to go through 2 or 3 checkpoints and they'll stop you and they'll ask you for your citizenship. You have no obligation to tell them, by the way. You can just be like, you can just ignore them if you want to. They might pull you over, they might harass you, but that's what living in a police state's like. And they've kind of had like this different set of rules that within 100 miles, it was for national security. But now we've expanded those rules to just like, we're going to pull over everybody who looks Hispanic. You guys don't think that's gross? You guys think that's a good idea? By the way, anybody who's here that wants to talk to me, you're welcome to come up and talk to me. What I'm not going to do today is debate you guys from the chat unless I want to. So if you're crying from the chat that I'm not paying attention to your comments, be brave, find a spine, and you can come up and talk to me. You just have to message GenDub1 over on Discord. It's the same as the Venmo username, and we can bring you up. We can have a talk. Amy said Rump equals Antichrist. Also a reminder, we are crowdfunded. You see our daily gift goal in the upper left-hand corner and all the different ways that you can help us accomplish our gift goals every single day. And then remember that Monday we'll have our members-only event starting again Monday evening at 6 p.m. Pacific. Make sure you're a paid member either on YouTube, Twitch, TikTok. Yeah, those are the only 3. And we'll get you into that members-only event. I'll have the announcement for what we're doing for the members-only event on Friday. But I think I got that all. Jen, did I get those all? And good morning, Jen.
Probably. You probably got them all.
You weren't listening, huh?
Not completely, no. I'm multitasking.
Right. You have anything?
That's what I do.
You want to say good morning to everybody?
Good morning, sunshines.
There we go. Look how happy Jen is today.
All right. It's not raining here anymore, which bums me out. I love the rain. So
Of course you do.
it makes me happy.
Jen's 2 favorite things are rain and animal shelters. So there are 2 favorite things in the world.
Stop it. I like animals. It's people that I don't like all that
That's
much.
right. Oh yeah, that's right. Rain and prisons. My bad.
I like, anyways, that's a topic for it. We can talk about something like that later.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I think you gotta, do the subscription thing. You got the gift goal thing. Yeah, I think you got that. What do you call a lullaby in outer space?
I don't know.
Nap tune.
A what? Naptune.
Nap tune.
Stupid. Okay. All right. I have an apology to issue. I want to apologize to Jennifer Welch. A couple, maybe last week or the week before, I played a clip of Jennifer Welch, and I think I prefaced it by saying, like, I'm not really a big fan of Jennifer Welch, but I really like this clip. And since then, I've seen a lot of Jennifer Welch, and I was very wrong about Jennifer Welch. Jennifer Welch might now be my favorite commentator, podcaster. What she's doing in bringing in these Democrats and pressing them with difficult questions, it makes my heart smile, and it makes me jealous. I I get accused sometimes of being jealous of people's audience. I don't know that I'm usually jealous of people's audience, except for their ability to get guests. I've never been more jealous of anybody in my life than Jennifer Welch, and I'm breathing through Jennifer Welch right now. She had on Cory Booker yesterday, or maybe the day before, and this is why Democrats suck. This is why they lose in the polls. This is why we're all sick of them, because I think they do the same shit that we criticized Republicans for yesterday. We'll get to it a little bit later, but my criticism lately, especially of Republicans, when they don't want to address the Epstein stuff, they don't want to address the government shutdown, they don't want to address the ACA, they don't want to address any of these things. They just say, here's the question you should ask me instead. Don't ask me that question. Ask me this question instead. And here you have Cory Booker, who thinks he's probably on a friendly podcast, and it should be a friendly podcast. But Jennifer Welch isn't going to make it so friendly. And Cory Booker makes me sick in this video. I've off the Cory Booker train. I think I was already off the Cory Booker train, but he's got some improving to do.
Feels like the Democratic opposition is just not getting it. There are votes that you've made that were heartbreaking to me, like the vote for Kushner. That really pissed me off. This administration, it's not, are they fascist? They are fascist. It's not, we're on the precipice of fascism. Texas is sending troops to Illinois. I feel like the opposition needs to be fuck no across the board. We're not giving you a centimeter. And I think there's been a lot of capitulation, Neville Chamberlain type appeasement from Democratic leadership. And you're one of them that's kind of been disappointing to me, because we podcasted before. They're serious about Project 2025. They're going to do all this shit. What do you have to say about the capitulation that you've participated in and where the Democratic Party is right now?
Well, first of all,
let's just talk about real quick. The Kushner one is pretty crazy. Like, Kushner's dad is legitimately a felon that then got pardoned. He's not a good person. But Cory Booker was friends with the Kushner, so he pushed him through. That was a time when Cory Booker said, I'm going to do what I want to do instead of what my constituents want. I'm so glad somebody's finally pushing Cory Booker on this.
I would say very pointedly that one of the things I dislike about the Democratic Party is that we do a circular firing squad all.
Oh, immediately the victim card. The thing that I'm going to ignore your fucking question, and instead I'm going to talk about how unfair it is when people criticize me. What I'm upset about right now is that you asked me this question. I'm not upset. I'm not going to answer it. I'm not going to deny it. I'm just going to get mad at you guys for bringing up the fact that you're mad at me.
The time. Their party, they disagree. There's wild disagreements in the Republican tent, and yet they don't shoot at each other. And we have a really good way of holding up these purity tests that if I agree with you on 95...
That's such bullshit.
Yes.
That is bullshit. They fire it.
He hit with the... Look at his face. He wasn't ready for that. He knew what he was saying was bullshit. And he's just used to going on CNN and MSNBC, and they just let him say this shit. And she's like, nah, fuck that. This is bullshit. And come on. He knows. He knows. The Republican Party, anybody who speaks out against Trump gets railroaded. We tried for like 5 minutes to get somebody in the chat just to say that Trump didn't save God, and we couldn't get him to do that. They go at each other all the time. It's just like they attack each other for not like loving Trump enough, for not licking that dude's taint all day long. They're like, you took a break from taint licking. You're out of the party now.
Fire at each other all the time. Trump has sent so many people out to pasture, so many people that he calls rhinos. Liz Cheney can tell you that they have the firing squad as well. It's not a purity test. It's, are we in this fight, and are we being beholden to corporations and corporate interests? Are we really the party of the working class?
All right, it gets better. It's not even hit. Just going to push him about the other stuff we all want our people to be pushed on. And we're going to do the same shit by Cory Booker. Somebody's got primary Cory Booker. I'm done with Cory Booker.
I'm one of a handful of people that don't take corporate PAC money. I don't understand my Democratic
What
Party.
about APAC money? You take APAC money, don't you?
A minuscule percentage of my resources.
How do you say I don't take PAC money and then immediately say, oh, except for APAC? It has the word PAC in it. I don't take any PAC money. What about APAC? Oh, well, that's different. And then hear this explanation, and then I'm going to explain why this explanation is bullshit.
And my Democratic
What
Party.
about APAC money? You take APAC money, don't you?
A minuscule percentage of my resources come from
I read it's like 800,000.
Yeah, but that's a lifetime number of raising tens of millions of dollars. Let me give you the right stat. The majority.
Yeah. Let me tell you the right stat. Let me tell you the thing that you should talk about. Stop asking me these fucking questions. Now I'm going to tell you what you should talk about. Praise me instead. Don't criticize me. Don't push me. Just praise me.
My money comes from small dollar contributions. My last report, I think 76% of it came from people that gave $25 or less. Again, we could pick at each other, or we could do what we need to be doing right now is join.
Or you could answer the fucking question. That's another option. We could pick at each other, or we could do what we need to be doing, or you could answer the fucking question.
In a chorus of conviction to condemn it. And again, I'm a child of civil rights activists. You think Malcolm X and Martin Luther King agreed on everything? No. But when it came to the fight, they joined together and created a movement that was successful.
And one more thing that makes this argument so fucking stupid. When he says, "Oh, I only took 800,000 from AIPAC. Most of my money comes from small donors." That's great. I'm glad that that's happening. I think that that's how all this. In fact, I don't really think we should be funding these types of races. I don't think you need to. I think you could just use public broadcasting. You could literally use PBS, and you could hold town halls, and you could hold debates. We don't need to pump billions of dollars into elections. But those individual donors might have given you individual donations, and there might have been hundreds of thousands of them who have done that. But how many of them can go to your office any fucking time they want and get a meeting with you? How many of them can get you to fly to their home and have and pay for you to take a guided tour of their home? How many of them can call you when legislation's coming up? How many of them can give you a call and be like, "Hey, Charles Kushner, maybe push him through"? None of those people have any sway over you because they are small individual donors. It's not about the total. That's why I hate what he just said there. Like, let's give you the real stat. Let me tell you about all the people who give me money that have no influence over me. Let's talk about those people because clearly they don't have any fucking influence over you. Clearly they don't. You voted for Kushner. You're silent about AIPAC. You sat on the fence for a genocide. Clearly all those individual donors don't mean a goddamn thing to you. Only the AIPAC ones. Only the ones that, it's a minuscule amount. It's only $800,000. Well, it worked, didn't it? Maybe what we should be talking about is how easy it is to buy you. How all these people gave you money and all it took was $800,000 over the course of your career to get you to sit on the sidelines and watch a genocide happen. Maybe that's the problem. Fuck every politician who is like this. Our entire system is broken, and it's becoming more and more apparent. There are right and left issues. Not answering questions is a political issue, and it's our issue. It's not even their issue. It's our issue. We don't demand it. I think that there are some people like here that are demanding real answers. I think there's some good journalists who are asking for answers, but mostly in America, we don't demand answers out of our politicians. We only want answers out of the politicians that we don't like, but the ones that we like, we poo-poo them. I got a little bit of shit because historically, I've been a fan of Jasmine Crockett, and then I saw her funding and I saw her voting, and I'm like, you know what? I like her on some issues, but I'm not gonna continue to be like the fanboy that I was at the beginning because there's a lot of shit in there that I don't like, and a lot of shit that nobody ever asks her about, and so it's frustrating. And then I just realized at the time, like, all of these politicians should be treated at an arm's distance. Nobody should be fans of these people. They just are supposed to do what you want them to do. They're supposed to go out there. They're supposed to advocate for where you live. They're supposed to advocate to get federal funding for where you live, and they're supposed to advocate for policies that you want. And you might be a minority in that district, like you might be a Republican in a Democrat district, and your voice isn't heard that much. But overwhelmingly, that's what they're supposed to do. And it doesn't seem like they spend that much time doing any of this shit. It seems like they spend most of their time. Who did I see the other day that was talking about this? Wish I could remember who it was. It was somebody I liked, but they said they spend 5 hours a day calling people and trying to fundraise. 5 hours a day. They're trying to fundraise. Just call people and ask for money. So who do you think that they're making promises to? Who do you think they're cutting deals with? Have any of you ever got a phone call from Cory Booker like, "Hey, I need some money. What can I do for you?" And you work out some exchange? No. But if you're a corporation, if you're AIPAC, yeah, they're going to call you and they're going to work out a deal with you. Even if you're an individual donor, but you represent a corporation, you might give an individual donation there and you'd be like, "I'm going to use my public platform to speak out against you if you don't vote a certain way." I don't think they should be allowed to make fundraising calls. I think that's insane. I think that there's no chance that's what our founding fathers wanted. And our system is so unbelievably corrupted that they spend most of their time asking us for money to give to them, money that's not going to go into our system, and then just with a hope and a prayer that they'll do the right thing. Every politician like this needs to get the fuck out. But more importantly, we've got to hold people accountable too. And it's not just like on the right. We need to talk about them all day long. I think that Donald Trump is far more dangerous than Cory Booker. But we also need to recognize that, like, what's Cory Booker doing? Has he been able to stop any of this? He spoke for a long time and broke a record. That was neat. Did that do anything? Nah, it didn't do anything. Social media, yeah, Rach, that's a good point. Social media has turned them all into celebrities. They put out the cringiest fucking videos. Remember, have you seen that video of Chuck Schumer talking about social media? Let's find this. It's one of the cringiest things I've ever seen in my life. He like leans into that dude. Even this, like, here's what they decided to roll out. This is
Donald Trump and
this is what they spent their time doing.
So now we're in a government shutdown. And you may be asking yourself, how the hell did we get here? Donald Trump and the Republican Party are hell-bent on taking health care away from 60 million people, closing community clinics, rural hospitals, nursing homes, all so they can keep giving tax breaks to their billionaire friends.
I'm not going to play the whole thing, but like, I don't really mind this commercial if also you were doing something. Right? I understand that this commercial it's going to go out in the airwaves and it's supposed to make people aware of what's going on. I don't mind it. Maybe don't use Chuck Schumer because he's a terrible actor. But also, like, what else are you guys doing? It just seems like it's so empty from Democrats. That's why when we have categorically the worst president we've ever had, his approval ratings are in the toilet. He has historic low approval ratings, and they're still above Democratic approval ratings. We still can't get people to join sides with the Democrats. That's how bad our party is. That's how inept they are. They're out there exactly what you said. They're just trying to, like, they all have podcasts. They're all making videos. They're all trying to go viral on Twitter. I don't think they should have social media. I don't know why our politicians have podcasts. I don't know why they have social media. I don't know why they do any of this shit. Seems like everybody just wants to be a star. It doesn't seem like very many people are out there to do what they were hired to do. And the ones that are, we never hear about.
And that's really what my focus is. And as the only person in the caucus that lives in a low-income black and brown neighborhood below the poverty line, I still
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, dude. Stop giving us your resume. Do something.
remember when some progressives from the suburbs came down to protest me, and they were literally chased away by my neighbors. Because we are in an urgency every day. I see it. We are in an urgency where real people are getting hurt.
And that's why I take AIPAC money. Remember, that's the question. She's asking about AIPAC money. Anything but he's not going to talk about that. This is just recycled. This is just like, hey, remember, I'm the good guy. Don't talk about the thing that you don't like. I'm the good guy.
Go up and down in New Jersey. They don't care about the fact that I took 1% of my money from some group. They care about, what are you doing to restore my health care?
I think the Democratic
You're not doing anything to restore health care either.
Base feels like there is a disconnect. We hear you, like when you did your 25-hour speech, I was like, go, Corey. I love this. That is amazing. And then there's a photo shoot with you with Benjamin Netanyahu. And I was just like, what in the actual fuck? Like, how can he do that? It was heartbreaking. I felt betrayed.
Yeah.
And hang on. And that doesn't just happen in an echo chamber. Democrats like you, where the base, we should make each other better. It's not a purity test. We want credible messengers. Because when we are down the middle, beholden to corporate interests, we leave this vacuum. And that's how fascism has flourished. For myself and a lot of our listeners, when I saw the picture with Benjamin Netanyahu, I felt like it diminished your 25 hours. That's how it felt to me.
Yeah. I think a lot of us felt that way. We wanted to be Team Booker. I really did. Like, I really wanted to be Team Booker. I really wanted, like, Hakeem Jeffries to be a good leader, but I don't see, I know it's limited what they can do. It's limited. Like when Republicans control all three branches, it's limited. But the stuff that they do decide to spend their time on is ineffective, and then they just double down on it every time. Amy said, because those on the left or Dem don't worship our politicians, we are dissatisfied. Oh, it's probably. Oh, yeah. We are dissatisfied, and their fake fighting is a joke. Other than not voting without a negotiation, that they better hold firm or I'm done with them. I think that was from this other one. What do we expect from a Nancy Pelosi pick? She did some great things, but they're out of touch with the populace. Burnout Medic said, thanks for holding Democrats accountable. That's how we fix this. Amy said, I read that one. Trump equals Antichrist. All right, one more clip from this podcast. And again, Jennifer Welch, if you're out there, my bad. I was wrong about you. My bad. I admittedly, I'm just going to be honest. It was what she looked like. I judged her on and how she looked and the way she spoke, and she just reminded me so much of all the Botox Mormon moms in Utah that I didn't trust her, and I was wrong, and I apologize for judging her based on her looks. That was my bad. If Jennifer ever hears this, my bad. I'm sorry. This is great. This is some of the best stuff I've seen. Here's the last one.
That the United States, and particularly the Democratic Party, we have to be leaders on this issue with Israel.
Adam said, shouldn't we just not be criticizing Booker and support our sports team? That's right. My bad.
And Benjamin Netanyahu. It's something that there is a big, loud beat in the base that's permeating all across the country. When you have people in Oklahoma.
She doesn't get GOP people dead can dance. Like, they're not coming on her show. I think she's had a few, but they're not going to have the guts to go on her show.
That have never been political before start to talk about it. And here's what I'm scared about. And I've been talking to other politicians that have come on the pod about this. You have Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is an anti-Semite. She is a real Jew hater to the core. And she is starting to message now. MAGA is not America first, where they've been Israel first. And for rural people and suburban people, when they hear that messaging, it allows a grifter and an opportunist like Marjorie Taylor Greene, for people that don't follow the 24-hour news cycle, to say, yeah, why do they have free health care and we don't? Why are we sending them all of these bombs and they're killing kids and we don't? I think in order for us to come together as a party in 2026, it's going to take leadership saying things like Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal. We have to stop funding the war. And we've evolved on the issue. And I think it's okay. I think we're all at a place right now where we can accept that we have the leaders that we have. And I agree with you that we agree on 98 out of 100 things.
Do you know how popular that would be? Look how popular Marjorie Taylor Greene's never been more popular in her life. And all just saying stuff that basically the whole world agrees with. Benjamin Netanyahu's a war criminal. You'll have the dirtbag idiots like Nazis that are like, oh no, what is he going to do? He's got to fight back. You will gain more than you will lose by saying that Benjamin Netanyahu's a war criminal. That's accepted across the world, and it's a truth. And when you hear a politician say Netanyahu's a war criminal, it adds credibility, because you know that's a dangerous thing for them to say. It's a very dangerous thing for any politician to say Netanyahu's a war criminal, Israel is a terrorist state. That's tough. One, it could put your life in physical danger, but two, they're going to spend against you. The second you say that, a bunch of money is going to flood in to spend against you, to primary you or to go against whoever you're running against in the general. It's a dangerous thing to say, which is why whenever I hear a politician say it, I'm like, I trust that person more now. Ironically, I trust Marjorie Taylor Greene more than I trust most politicians. I also trust her when she says things that are abhorrent. I know that she believes them. I don't doubt for 1 second that Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't believe those things. I think she's wrong on a lot of things. I think she's racist. I think she nailed it here. She's anti-Semitic. She's all those things, but she's actually kind of honest about it. And that's a sad day when we're looking at somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and that's somebody that at least we can trust what they're saying is true to them, right? Whatever she says is really what she's thinking. You can't find that with very many politicians. And that sucks that such a horrific person is one of the few that I'm like, well, at least I know what she's saying is what she actually believes.
And if we agreed 100 out of 100 would be in a cult, would be MAGA, and we're not that. We're always going to disagree on things. And I genuinely hear you when you say people don't know who Chuck Schumer is. You're exactly right. So many Americans do not know who that is at all. We all do, obviously. And I think the economic messaging, but I do think that if the Democrats leave this vacuum there, it's going to get filled by the people in MAGA that are seeing a post-Trump America. And it's super easy messaging with the America First thing. It's just something I want you to think about, because I think it's a political liability for our party right now.
They're calling me for a vote. Let me just say this. So first of all, why aren't people talking about when Obama was using?
See what I mean? Let me tell you what you should talk about instead. I spent all day trashing Republicans for this exact thing. And when I came across this clip, I honestly, because I know that there's some of you that are going to get pissed that I'm doing this. And then I was like, you know what? Don't be a bitch. Just do it anyways. I spent all day criticizing Republicans for doing this exact thing. Here's the question you should ask. And then I turn on Cory Booker doing the exact same fucking thing.
Using American jets to refuel Saudi planes that were dropping bombs on Yemenis children. Why weren't we yelling and screaming that? I spoke out against it.
Yeah, but what about now, bitch? That's the thing. Like, this is so fucking crazy. Why weren't we talking about Obama? I was. Okay, where the fuck are you now, dude? Where the fuck are you right now with the genocide? You're taking AIPAC money? You won't disavow? You won't stop taking AIPAC money? Where the fuck are you right goddamn now? You want us to go back? I don't even know if you did say that back then, Cory Booker. I don't remember you saying that back then. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. But where are you right now? Why are you asking us to go back to your record from 2013 instead of right now? You were asked about now. I am so fucking sick of these politicians that just refuse to engage in a question. I haven't had that many interactions with politicians. Marianne Williamson was one. What I know for a fact is there are 3 or 4 politicians in this country that can be asked a question that's difficult and that will answer that question. And that's about it. Everybody else is going to do this same shit. They're all trained the same way. They're all given the same training. This is AIPAC training right here. Do you understand what we just did here, Cory fucking Booker? We just talked about a genocidal maniac who is in the process. By the way, ceasefire not happening. 12 Israelis or 12 Palestinians have been shot. There is no ceasefire. You're asked about a genocidal psychopath who gives you money, and you want to be like Obama. Excuse me? Yeah, when Obama did that, he was wrong. He was called out by all the media, everybody. He was called the drone striker in chief. That wasn't just a right-wing talking point. That was on CNN. Clearly it's safe for Cory Booker to criticize Barack Obama. But for some reason, it's not safe for Cory Booker to talk about right fucking now and the genocide that's happening right fucking now. Why is it not safe for Cory Booker, a Democrat, to say, yeah, Netanyahu's a war criminal? Why can he criticize us, but not him? The both sides people that are here all the time that I've criticized, like, now's a good time for you both sidesers. Now's the time for you guys to be like, it's both sides. This is a good example of it's both sides. We have a lot of politicians in this country who are very quick to criticize American politicians, but won't criticize a genocidal maniac in Israel. This is a real fucking problem.
But no, it was bad, but we have to talk about current.
Please let me finish. Please let me finish, because they're going to pull me away.
Okay.
Let you finish what? No, I appreciate her. She's nice. I probably would have let him finish too. But in this moment right now, I'm like, no, answer the fucking question, dude.
Why? And again, I've been fighting for more funding from the Horn of Africa to the Congo to Sudan. Why can't we get people to care in this country?
We can't get you to care about Palestine. What the fuck is this? This is pathetic. He should be done, cooked, over. Primary him, fucking tomorrow. Tomorrow, primary him. He's done. You can't trust Cory Booker. He won't answer this question. This is wild.
Enough. Where our top podcasts are saying it's wrong that we are implicated in so many things, people dying on the continent of Africa. Why Haiti? Why can't I get top mainstream media people to give a damn about the atrocities there?
Because you're using it as a deflection. And secondly, we don't have, the whole world isn't coming out and saying, hey, this group, the Israelis, is committing a genocide, and we don't have you defending it. Like, you want to attack the media? Dude, you're doing what you claim the media is doing everywhere else. Why can't I get the media to follow my lead? Because nobody trusts you, dude. Because it seems like the only reason you're talking about these other genocides is because you don't want to talk about this one. And frankly, like, I don't talk about them either. You'll notice, like, I'm not like a foreign affairs person. I do politics. So when we talk about Israel and Palestine, we talk about Gaza, there are some great people doing great work. I'm going to shout out Covey once again for everything that she does, and she's on top of all of these issues. And there are great creators to talk about all these issues. And there's news programs probably that talk about these issues. But you're a politician. And this is a political podcast, and that what you're on right now is a political podcast. And you are implicated. The United States government is implicated in this specific genocide. We are funding it. We are supporting it with our words. We're arresting people in our own streets for criticizing Israel. That's why we're talking about this more than that. Because there's not this active attempt by our government to aid and abet genocidal maniacs. That's why. And maybe I don't know everything about all these other. In fact, I certainly don't know everything about these other situations. But what I do know is that I don't see one side of that those atrocities having somebody like come on and be able to speak in front of Congress and get 30 minutes on Fox News to justify their genocide. I don't. Sorry, maybe I missed it. Maybe it's not coming across my timeline. Admittedly, this is a blind spot for me. But for fuck's sakes, Cory Booker, you just refuse to answer a question about Israel, and like, why don't you care about this? This is pathetic.
The International Criminal Court singles out Israel, but not Iran, not Syria, not other folks. I don't understand. I'm with.
Yeah, I don't have near the problem with Iran that I do. In fact, in both, Israel attacked Iran. Israel attacked Syria. They didn't attack Israel. The other way around. You want me to focus on Iran and Syria now? Dude, is this guy MAGA? Is he working in Trump's cabinet? Who is this? Is this Marco Rubio's BFF? The fuck are we doing here? Why aren't we talking about Iran and Syria? Well, we do when Israel attacks them. We talk about Iran when we bombed them for no fucking reason. I still don't know why we bombed Iran. Nobody's ever told me why we bombed Iran. They were going to get nukes. Oh, okay. Yeah, for sure. For sure, that's why we bombed them. Is he MAGA? And if he loses his job, this is the type of guy who's going to go MAGA.
You on the ending of the nightmare and the ceasefire. I'm with you on criticizing the Netanyahu administration, which I think is worse than the Trump administration.
Oh, so brave. Oh, finally. The Netanyahu administration is worse than the Trump administration. It'd be hard pressed to find somebody or some audience that despises Trump as much as our audience. I don't think there's a single person in here that would be like, "Oh, Trump is just as bad as Netanyahu." I don't think anybody would say that. How brave of you, Cory Booker.
But as a guy who is focusing so much of my effort on ending human suffering on the planet Earth, on the biggest humanitarian nightmares, I can't get people.
Except for one. The only one that has given you $800,000. That's the one you're silent on. I don't follow Cory Booker that much. I'm sure he does advocate for these other things, and that's a good thing. I'm glad that he's doing that. I'm glad that there are people who are advocating for the ending of other conflicts. But there's one specific one that you don't seem to want to talk about, and that's the only one that gave you money.
With powerful platforms to speak even once about the nightmares that are going on. It drives me nuts. And it's just, it makes me feel like I have felt when I was representing Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah, he does sound like Mike Flood, Benny. That's pretty good, actually. Yeah, he does sound a lot like Mike Flood. I'm just telling, like, if you didn't know who Cory Booker was and you just tuned into this, you'd be like, oh, so he's MAGA? Got it.
To get people in our country to care enough. Why do I stand out and support people that you and others criticize me for voting for? Because I will never forget when nobody cared about mass incarceration of Black and brown people who stood up for them. Why am I get so angry sometimes about my own party, who seems to be distracted by issues that don't matter?
Excuse me? What issues don't matter? Cory? What issues don't matter? I'm watching the Democrats right now. They're talking about Epstein. I think that matters. They're talking about government shutdown. I think that matters. They're talking about healthcare. I think that matters. And some of them, the ones that are not bought and paid for, are talking about Israel. He won't even tell us what specifically he wants us to care about. So far, he said Iran and Syria. Sorry, dude. I don't care more about Iran and Syria than I care about Palestine right now.
And not to the core of people who cannot afford to pay rent and buy groceries.
Talking about that too. Man, that was a bad day for Cory Booker. And the thing is, like, I don't know how I can watch that and give this guy the benefit of the doubt. You know, sometimes I know, like, I speak every day, so there's sometimes I'm not careful with my words and things come out wrong. I have to apologize, or maybe I don't even catch it. And there's some people out there that get offended because I say things wrong. I'd like to think that I give people the benefit of the doubt, that I don't just try and immediately cancel them. I think I get criticized, but like, what do you want me to take from that interview that was redeeming for Cory Booker? That was worse than any of the MAGA interviews I showed yesterday. That's the worst one I've seen. He just kept going and going and going and going, and then just started instructing her how to do her job. Listen, dude, she's pretty fucking good at her job. I don't think Cory Booker would be a very good podcast host. I don't think he's that engaging. I don't think he's that entertaining. She's one of the best in the world at what she does, and you're like, let me tell you how to do your job instead of answering the questions that I asked. I can't stand that. I can't stand that person anymore. Cory Booker, that's tough. Brian said in 2017, Senator Cory Booker voted against a symbolic amendment that would have allowed for the importation of prescription drugs from Canada. Did he really? Those dangerous Canadian drugs. Wayne said, book suggestion while deconstructing and thinking about environmental and societal collapse. I highly recommend Life After Doom by Michael Dowd. For me, it was powerful to see what I've been feeling laid out so clearly. And don't forget to wash your balls. Thanks, Wayne. I haven't read that book. I'm going to have to check that out. Check over here, too. I didn't miss any of those. Betsy. Oh, that was yesterday. Q said for not B, Booker sounds just like fucking JD Vance. Yeah. So that's a good comparison too. Fuck, he sounds so MAGA. All right, let's get some red meat here. Because poor Scott Jennings. I think Booker took his, what was his shocked response? Oh, come on. I think Scott Jennings and Caroline Downey are probably tired of getting beat up by a college kid every day. I've tried not to show clips from the show anymore because I don't like it. I think that it's highly performative, and I think they focus on issues that aren't very important. But the reason I want to show this clip is just to show like how incoherent Republican talking points are now. It's literally just, come on, man, why don't you believe me? And Mockler did a great job. 2v1 takes care of Scott Jennings. Scott Jennings quits. Caroline, Downey jumps in and never knows when to take an L, and she took a fat L here.
Turn out to vote are typically voting.
So Biden never weaponizes DOJ, and that's what you're
Oh
saying.
yeah, prefacing. What they're talking about is the weaponization of the DOJ. Adam Mockler is pointing out correctly that this is the most obvious weaponization of the DOJ we've ever seen. They're literally doing it in front of you. They're writing messages like, go get Comey, and then they go get Comey. And they're like, go get Letitia James, and they go get Letitia James. And Scott Jennings, of course, and Republicans, they don't want to answer that. They're just going to play whataboutism. When literally this has never happened. None of this has ever happened. Nobody's ever done this. No president's ever done this. Richard Nixon's like the closest. Yes, people from other sides of the aisle have been prosecuted, but never in a way like this.
Turn out to vote are typically voting.
So
for the
Biden never
presidential
weaponized his DOJ, and that's what you're saying. Biden never asked.
No, he absolutely did.
When did he ask
You want to
Merrick
talk
Garland?
about lawfare?
When did he ask Merrick Garland to go after someone? Trump sent a DM to Pam Bondi. This is unprecedented.
Such a good question. Great freeze frame there too, as she pushes out her fart. That's a good question, because what you see in real time is Trump goes out there and he does something, and then Republicans come out and they go, Biden did that too, and you say when, and they're like, oh, come on, look what happened. You're like, no, I want to know when Biden instructed somebody to investigate somebody. Just give me an example. And they go, oh, what, you think he didn't? Or just give me an example, because whether you think he did or didn't, Donald Trump's doing it openly. Nobody else has ever done this before. Just Trump. Let's see. Did you get that fart out yet? Looks like you're pushing real hard. Get it out.
Merrick Garland, who sent the parental rights memo that basically demonized
and Biden asked him to do that when did Biden?
Board meetings.
I'm going to ask you a simple question. When did Biden ask him to do that?
Garland collaborated with Biden
when
to
did Biden
send that
directly
memo
ask him to do that?
weaponizing the FBI and law enforcement.
So you're just guessing. Everything the attorney general does, and this is a real problem we have. I don't really know how to address this yet. I'm trying to figure this out. But one of the things I know about Republicans is that they have they will speak how they think, right? So when they say things like, the Supreme Court's a good example. I saw Eric Trump saying we have a 6-3 majority in the Supreme Court. And we all agree with that. Republicans have a 6-3 majority in the Supreme Court. But the Supreme Court is not supposed to be biased that way, right? It's not supposed to be one side or the other. But we know that all 6 of those Supreme Court justices were hand-selected by the Heritage Foundation with an agenda going in. That doesn't exist on the left. There is no organization hand-picking and training judges. That only exists on the right. But now this is the reality that we live in, because we acknowledge, and Republicans acknowledge, that all of these judges are partisan judges and that they are there with a partisan, not ideology, and that they have been trained and vetted to get where they are. And then what Republicans say is that's what happened to the Democrats too. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. Everything Republicans accuse Democrats of are just a way to say, like, oh, our corruption is fine because everybody else does it. So what you're seeing is that Trump in real time is just directing the Department of Justice to do whatever the fuck he wants. And Republicans' only way of coping with that is saying, this is what everybody does. Everybody does this. And so just what Adam Mockler does here, and what I'm learning through the debates that we've done in the last couple of weeks, ask questions. Because they don't have answers. I promise you, if you get in a debate with MAGA and you don't know what they're talking about, you're not going to beat them with a good point. Ask them questions and just keep asking questions until it's very apparent they don't know what they're talking about. That's an embarrassing place to be. It's embarrassing to get put on the back foot and then have to explain what you just said. And then when you try and explain away, ask a follow-up question or re-ask the question. That's all Adam Mockler's doing. That's all it takes to beat MAGA, just so you know. All these politicians that go out, all they should do is just ask questions. All these reporters, ask questions, ask follow-up questions. When they don't answer the question, repeat the question, say you didn't answer that question, come back. Just like George Stephanopoulos did the other day. That's all you have to do. And it's I do think it's because MAGA is slow, but that's just me being a dickhead. The reality is they don't have truth on their side, and they have zero plans, and they don't know what the fuck is going on. So just ask them a bunch of questions. Now back to Adam Mockler.
FBI and law enforcement.
Garland collaborated with Biden.
With the Biden administration, yes.
Okay.
That was their
Garland
policy.
Collaborated
it was the
with
administration's
Biden.
policy.
And I think that Adam's question, and it's a question I guess apparently this comes up on the show every other day, is where is the evidence that was directed by the White House? Where's the evidence that it was directed? And I'm going to broaden it, like not just the president, because you could argue that if you're going to compare apples to apples, the direction needs to come from the president, but from the White House. Where's the evidence of that?
Where's the evidence they disagreed with it? Is this not his administration?
Let me ask a different question. This is Scott Jennings, and Scott Jennings thinks he nailed it. Where's the evidence that they didn't? Where's the evidence that you don't have a penis growing out of your shoulder blades, Scott? Where's the evidence? I've made a claim and I can't substantiate it, so prove that my claim is wrong. This is the Andrew Wilson right here. This is why when you guys all think Andrew Wilson's smart, this is why he looks, because he makes an insane claim that says, prove my insane claim wrong. You're like, I can't. How am I gonna do that?
That's a totally different.
Is it not his?
That's
Is
a
it not
totally
his
different
policy?
thing.
Was it not his administration's policy?
Where is the evidence that?
Where is the evidence that he wasn't happy with his own
But hold on a
administration's
second,
policy?
Scott. I actually think that's a really important point, because whether it is agreement or disagreement, both of those.
By the way, anybody who's doing that, they know what they're doing. That just means they don't have an answer. And I wish they would point that out. Like, Scott, you don't have an answer. If you don't have an answer, shut the fuck up. But you can't answer questions with a question. You guys made a point. We asked you about it, and you said, never mind. I don't have evidence for that. Prove that I'm wrong. And even if you did prove it, they wouldn't change their mind anyways. Keep asking Republicans questions. Give them a fucking microphone. I've kind of turned on this. This one might get me in trouble. I'm sorry in advance. I love all of you. You all know that sometimes I'm wrong. If I'm wrong about this, I'll apologize later. But there's this thing that we do on the left that I understand, because like there's harm. Like certain people are harmful. And I think that there's certain people that definitely shouldn't be platformed. Like Fuentes, I think, is an example of somebody that like there's not going to be any good that comes from platforming Nick Fuentes, because he's slick and he's not going to answer questions, and he pretends that he's not like a Nazi. He's like, oh, I just care about the Palestinian people. And he's slick like that. But for some of these people who aren't that bright, who come on, and you know who we're talking about. Some of you guys are here. And they come on and they're instigators on TikTok all day long. Instead of saying, don't platform them, some of these people platform them. Give them a microphone and ask them some questions. And watch how quickly that person shuts the fuck up. They'll suddenly not. Don't let them ask. Don't let them say, like, I'm going to answer your question with a question. Force them to answer questions. And I think they'll naturally go away. But what it does is it gets the audience that's watching to think, like, do I have an answer to that? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. And you can pick off one at a time. But I swear to God, the best thing we could do right now is start a 24/7 live stream of Republicans and give every Republican politician an hour to answer questions and just sit there. Throw them on C-SPAN. Pay them all $100,000 a day. I don't give a fuck. Put them up there and make them answer questions for an hour straight. And that would end the GOP. It would literally end their party. It would be so embarrassing and so catastrophic that they would just be like, I'd have to shut it down. Like, we're going to start something new.
Things would be involving themselves in what's going on at DOJ in a way that most presidents don't, and that Donald Trump is. So whether or not they said do this or don't do that, both of those things would actually be off limits in a world in which DOJ.
Good call, Bowsy.
A world in which DOJ is allowed to pursue the rule of law.
About Merrick Garland going after ordinary parents, he could have put a stop to it. But I think he loved it.
Do you think that the president should be engaged one way or another, saying affirmatively or saying negatively? About what the DOJ is doing?
I have told you many times. I think it's fine for the president to express opinions about how his administration operates.
Okay. I love
and I also think it's fine for
I've told you many times the president can have an opinion. Yeah, but what we're asking is, should the president direct the attorney general to prosecute people? This is the follow-up question. And this is why I hate this panel, because then everybody gets too excited. But the follow-up question should be, wait, but that's not what we asked. Of course, the president can have an opinion. What we want to know is, should the president be directing the attorney general to prosecute certain people?
Process and dodge.
Listen,
No answer.
I think that this is super important, because
Good point, Beige Rage.
Adam's making an important point. Trump said, you're not doing your job. In fact, he said something very similar just the other day. I mean, you're not doing your job. He called out 3 names. 2 of those people have been indicted. So that's more than just expressing an opinion.
Don't forget the 4 people that he had to fire in order for this to get. So he said, do your job. Then when people said, I'm doing my job, I can't find evidence, he fired them. Don't leave that part out. He also had to fire people so that they would, and then had to bring in somebody off the bench with no experience to do this.
An order.
It is extraordinarily naive to believe that the Biden Department
We're being
of Justice
naive.
Back to Biden.
as some disembodied,
Back to Biden.
floating,
But you're
back to Biden.
magical seahorse. That is not the way it works.
Department
Not the way it works.
The other thing I think is funny about Scott Jennings is how often he like looks directly into the camera. Like, it's so clear that Scott Jennings is a performer. Adam Mockler, I give him credit. Adam Mockler, I think, does like this is his thing, and I do think he cares. Scott Jennings, if we start here again, I watch.
That the Biden department
Watch how he finds the camera every time.
Disembodied, floating,
but you have
magical seahorse.
I love watching
you don't think the president knows what his department's doing?
See how much he finds the camera there every time. It's just extremely performative, and it works for MAGA. They want a performance. They don't really live in reality, so it kind of works. But keep asking them questions. What was this one? This was the other clip that I wanted to play from there. Yeah, this is another question I think all MAGA should be forced to answer every time, because this is the America First Party. And MAGA, if you guys are here, they all left. Weirdly, like the audience got smaller when we talked about Cory Booker. But I'm interested in your take on this. It's America First, and then we bail out Argentina with $20 billion, and we give millions of dollars to Israel. We're sending ships over to UAE. We're doing all sorts of things for all of Trump's friends with our money. That $20 billion could have gone a long way to pay for healthcare. Is it America First?
Okay.
I mean,
hold on a second. Hold on. Okay, look. At the end of the day, we know what's going to happen with the farmers' ban. They're going to bail out the farmers too. And for, free market conservatism, this must be a tough pill to swallow. Bailing out foreign.
No. They've swallowed so much stuff. Their throats are all stretched out, lubed up. They've been practicing swallowing shit ever since Trump's been around. That's what they do. They just swallow their beliefs every single day. There are no beliefs. It's just whatever Trump does is good.
Governments, bailing out farmers, tariffs, centrally controlled economies. This is all happening under.
Oh, did Gus Texas broadcast raid us again? I did the other day. If they raided again, thank you very much for that raid. I didn't see if they raided again, but I did give them a shout out the other day.
President Donald Trump and the Republican Party, and it's very different from the Republican Party that I know that you came up in, when all of those things were not things that you guys would have run on. So it's just interesting that all of a sudden it's just fine.
I didn't say
when before it was called
allies,
socialism.
And if you know it's going to go to someplace like China, and it's going to go to an extreme other agenda, you stand with them.
All right, we got to go. Coming up next, fight again. Okay.
I just like that. I like how he tried to say it too, like if it's going to fight against China. That $20 billion to Argentina did not help them fight against China. They got more money from China. China started buying their soybeans. AP now saying $40 billion today. Is that real? It's $40 billion now. Peter, why don't you come up and talk to me, bud? Let's talk about it. Peter, I would love to have a real conversation with you that's not just both sidesism, but and you can join the live stream right now. Just add JenDub1 on Discord. She can bring you right up. I'd love to have a conversation with any of you. Ryan said, for the information in dealing with the MAGA wackadoos, thank you. Carol said, thanks for the education today. Pink, thanks for joining the dollar train. Let me check over here. Got it. All right. And just a reminder, guys, we are crowdfunded, so anything you can do to help us knock out that gift goal daily would be a great help to us. We also have paid subscriptions. On Monday night, we'll have a members-only event, and I'll have details on that on Friday, but make sure you're a paid member either on YouTube, Twitch, or TikTok, and you can join those members-only events. They are different than this. Just so you guys know, it's different than our daily show. Generally, it's a different topic. It's a little more personal. It's a little more interactive. I think the last thing we watched was a Mormon dating show. So if you just need a place to get away from the typical politics stuff, but still hang out with political people, it's a fun time to hang out. Maybe, I don't know. The people that were there can vouch for the truthfulness of that or not. Marianne, thank you for the super chat. Moving on here. This is Caitlin Collins, who's an incredible journalist, and she had on it's Tim Sheehy, right? Sheehy, the senator from Montana. Watch this. Watch how unable Tim Sheehy is. Watch how unable he is to answer a question. And by the way, you guys had John Tester in Montana. You had legitimately like a politician that wasn't married to a party. You had somebody who like was pretty purple. He everybody in Montana loved him, and then you brought in Trump, And then Trump's like, oh, he's not deathly loyal to me. I have to attack him. And then all of a sudden you guys started painting him as like some far left psycho. And now you've got Tim Sheehy, who doesn't live in Montana. I believe, didn't he have like some stolen valor claims? Tim Sheehy have stolen valor claims? Let's see. I don't remember. Yeah, something about a gunshot. Yeah. Said he was in Afghanistan and got shot, but there's no medical record for any of the stuff. That's what he says. Somehow the military just didn't have a medical record of that. Yeah, he failed the loyalty tester. Well done, Tootle. Well done. But now you got this dipshit here who can't answer questions, who's just a loyalist to Donald Trump. He's not there for the people of Montana. He's not there to advocate for them. He's there to run cover for Trump. And Caitlin Collins, maybe the best in the business, is pressing the shit out of him. He has no answers.
The Department of Energy just canceled $1 billion to the Pacific Northwest Hydrogen Hub. Part of that covers your state of Montana, and your governor actually praised it when it was happening, saying it was going to create good-paying Montana jobs and boost American-made energy. They just yanked $1 billion from that. So is that taking away good-paying jobs in Montana?
Of course it is. As I said, we want the government to be open. You should be saying this to Chuck Schumer, who's closing the government down. I'm agreeing we should have the government open right now. This is an unnecessary shutdown.
But that you're acknowledging that what the Trump administration just pulled.
Yeah, that doesn't have anything to do with the shutdown, though, right? Trump's administration, they canceled. It has nothing to do with the government shutdown. They didn't have to cancel that. They've just decided to cancel it. Isn't that crazy? Trump canceled something for his state, and he figured out a way to blame Chuck Schumer. How do you Republicans feel about that answer right there? Be as honest as I was with Cory Booker. Do you like that answer? $1 billion missing from the state. It's a decision by the Trump administration. It was 7 days ago. It was a project that would include, and by the way, I don't think it has anything to do with the shutdown. It's because they were going to use renewable energy. That's why. They were going to use solar energy to create hydrogen fuel. That was their plan. And Trump's all oil. But this guy's a loyalist. He doesn't give a fuck about the people of Montana, which is unlivable now, by the way. Shout out Montana. Shout out making it a safe haven for people to come with low taxes, and all the billionaires came and bought up all your beautiful, pristine land. And now if you live in Montana and you're not a billionaire, it's basically unaffordable. You're basically like just the peasant class now. You have incredible wealth disparity in Montana now because you guys thought it would be a really good idea to convince all these rich people to come to your state with tax incentives, and now they fucked up your whole state. And you got Tim Sheehy, who doesn't even know anything about your state, who doesn't give a goddamn about your state, and he's now blaming what Trump does on Chuck Schumer. It's pathetic. This is absolutely pathetic stuff. And if you can't call this out and you're a Republican, you are an absolute fucking coward. Honestly, this is pathetic. Our government is pathetic. This guy, Donald Trump, fucking pathetic. All of them. The worst people in America are running our country. And if you can't look at this, if you can't watch an interview where somebody's asked about money that would have provided jobs for their state desperately needs new jobs, and Trump's administration cancels it, line item canceled, and then you blame Chuck Schumer, you don't deserve respect. And fuck you if you're defending it. Fuck you if you're looking at this and you're not blaming Donald Trump for this. It's Donald Trump that canceled this. It is not Chuck Schumer.
Funding is hurting your state.
Having troops not being able to fulfill their functions, having law enforcement officers, having air traffic controllers not be able to direct flights into our airports in Montana hurts our state. Not having federal employees showing up to Farm Service Agency offices during cattle shipping season, that hurts our state. Not having...
See, none of this has to do with the question she asked. Not one fucking thing. Not one of these things has anything to do with the question she asked. I don't know if he's reading this. I don't know if he's looking down here.
Transportation employees overseeing our highways, our bridges, our airways, our road construction efforts. All those things are hurting every state. So this shutdown is not a good thing, and that's
how come everybody in the GOP is a bitch. Everyone, 100% of them, just all bitches. I served in the military. Do you answer questions? I do not. I'm too big of a bitch to answer questions. I can go and I can fight a war, but ask me a tough question, I can't do it. And especially if this question requires me to say that Donald Trump did something bad, then I'm just one big giant fucking bitch. I don't care where you are on the political spectrum. Like, This is just bitch shit.
I don't answer questions.
Why we don't want it to continue. That's
But
why we
on
voted.
the-
That's why we've now voted 8 times to reopen the government, and we've not been supported by our friends across the aisle.
Yeah,
I think that's
we
unfortunate.
pushed Democrats on their stance. We've had many of your colleagues on the show. But on this hub specifically, I mean, that is the Trump administration didn't have to make that decision. They decided to pull that $1 billion from your state. Do you disagree with that?
Well, I think the reality is we wouldn't be here if the government was still open. And now we're going on week 3 of a pretty unnecessary shutdown.
Well, actually, Chris Wright, the energy secretary, I asked him about that project specifically, and he said they would have done that even if the government wasn't shut down, that was months in the making even before the government shut down.
Yeah. Well, it's unfortunate we're still shut down. We shouldn't be.
Oh, it's unfortunate. Let me see if I can find this. I'll just fuck it. We're gonna do it because I think this is important. Let's talk about Montana. For you that said, how did they fuck up Montana? This wasn't on the outline. I'll add it to the outline so you guys have access to it. But I'm gonna make a audible here. Let me add this to the outline real quick so that you guys have it. I'm gonna pull an audible and I'm gonna show you guys the more perfect union. They actually went to Montana and they spoke to the people. And this is what's happened to Montana since you brought in billionaires. But again, to the Republicans that are here, I want you to know that, like, I call you bitches and I mean it lovingly. And you can call me a bitch too, and that's fine. When I say bitch, I mean like coward, and I use the word bitch because I think it upsets Republican men. I know some people don't like that I say bitch, but I mean it. I use that word specifically because it really upsets Republican men, and I want you hysterical sometimes. But capitalism that is unchecked where we are now, this type of crony capitalism is a problem. Billionaires existing, I know they tell you that like somebody else having billions of dollars doesn't affect you. It absolutely does. It absolutely affects you. And let me just give you like the most simple possible example. Let's just say that you needed chicken. Okay, you wanted to buy a whole chicken. And you went down to the grocery store and there was one chicken left. And every day there's only one chicken at the grocery store. And every day you go to the grocery store to buy that one chicken. And all you have to your name is $10. And the chicken is $10. Every day you have $10 to your name because you have limited amounts of money. And every day you go in to get that chicken, you show up at the same time with a billionaire. And you say, I'd like to purchase this chicken for $10, please. And the billionaire says, I'd like to buy this chicken for $15. Now, in a grocery store, there's no way to do that. You can't barter, right? But with the government, with our economy, with housing specifically, you don't have that barrier. The highest bidder wins. So if you are limited with the bid that you can make, you will lose every time. And that's what's happened in Montana. There are people that graduated high school or graduated college that lived in Montana, and they thought, I'm going to buy a small parcel of land, and I'm going to try and expand that. I'm going to farm. I'll build that out, and then maybe I'll buy more land. Or they're just saying, like, I'm just going to buy a home to work. And they're saving and saving and saving. They save for 10 years just to get that down payment. And then all of a sudden, Montana says, we're gonna give a bunch of tax breaks and incentives to people to come to our state. It's a beautiful state. Who doesn't want to live there? It's away from the crowds. You can live in the mountains. It's beautiful. And all these billionaires come in and they're like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll buy it. I don't want to buy that acre. What if instead of buying this 1 acre from you, sir, I bought 100 acres from you? Okay, great. I'm going to sell all 100 in one deal. That raises the price. That makes the other acreage less available, which drives up the price. Suddenly, that person who's been saving for 5 or 10 years for a down payment of $20,000, that down payment now requires $30,000, but they don't have $30,000. They're going to have to save again. So they get back to saving, and they come back 5 years later and they're like, I've got the $30,000. And they're like, great. The price of that went up 200%. So now you need $80,000. And they're like, fuck. It's unsustainable. And that's what this video for More Perfect Union is going to show you. Billionaires hurt you. They can. If the government doesn't get in the way, billionaires can hurt you. That's why most people can't afford houses right now. It is an absolute lie that conservatives tell you that because somebody else has all this money that you're just jealous and you should get over it. No, because it has real effects on real people. And here's the good, hardworking people in Montana who have lived there their whole lives just trying to make ends meet, and they're peasants now.
The campers, urban campers as they call us, you know, a lot of us got jobs. The prices in Bozeman, or Bose Angeles as they call it, everything's expensive here.
Welcome to Montana, a state with gorgeous landscapes, sprawling wilderness, and natural resources that have attracted settlers, prospectors, and vacationers for centuries. But what happens to local residents when the government caters exclusively to those outsiders?
I hate to tell you this, Francisco, immigrants didn't cause a housing shortage. That's a lie. There's no data to support that at all. That's just a thing that you've been told. And this is how this works. Like, how'd you get that message? You got it on the internet. You got it on from a politician. Who paid that politician? Who runs that site? The billionaires. What do they not want you to know? I live in Arizona. You know what percentage of houses were bought by illegal immigrants in Arizona? If the number exists, it's too small for a percentage. If somebody did buy one that was here illegally, that number is too small a percentage. You know what percentage of houses were bought by billionaires? 40%. 40. And those billionaires like Elon Musk, they pay all these politicians to tell you that it really was people who were here illegally who were buying up all the houses while they literally buy up all the houses. You've got to be better than this. There's nothing cool, there's nothing alpha, there's nothing tough about being like, billionaires got there because they worked hard. Fuck poor people. It's just you being a useful little bitch. They're like, look how fucking dumb this bitch is. He's out there on the internet telling people. They must sit around laughing like, this dumb bitch is telling everybody on the internet that the reason housing is so expensive and there was a shortage is because of illegal immigration. He's not even looking at the fact that we're buying up all the motherfucking houses. He's that dumb. All I had to do was tell him it was an immigrant, and he's like, yeah, I hate immigrants. And he just said it on the internet. They must die laughing. They must text each other every day like, can you believe these dumb motherfuckers? They're literally blaming poor people from third world countries for buying up all the houses when it's us. And you're like, yeah, it probably is them. They're laughing at you, dude. You got to be better than that.
And the ultra rich. It means that some of the wealthiest people in the country are buying multi-million-dollar vacation homes, and private equity is betting on luxury resorts and high-end development.
Yeah, I guess this is as close as we're gonna get. So the Yellowstone Club is the only private ski resort in the world.
And meanwhile, just miles away in towns like Bozeman.
Those are those people's mountains. I grew up in an area, not this small, but like I grew up in the foothills of beautiful mountains, even bigger than these ones in Montana. And all of us felt like those were our mountains. We could all go, we could walk through those mountains. Somebody just was able to buy an entire beautiful mountainside and turn it into a private ski resort. And who does that benefit? You might say, oh, that provides jobs for the city. And that's what we're going to find out here. Look at the jobs that it actually provided. Did it make the city better or worse?
Housing is now some of the least affordable in the country. It's harder for a Montanan to buy a home than a Californian or a New Yorker. And people working full-time find themselves living on the street.
They're talking about affordable houses. These places like the apartment over there, and all of them, they're anywhere from $2,500 and up.
The crisis is dividing residents across class lines.
If Bozeman is too expensive to live in, choose another place to live.
And Montana's politicians are making housing central.
Is that not the Republican thing? If things are bad, run away. Somebody told me to move to Mexico here earlier. If things are bad, just quit and leave. We are bitches, and we do whatever the oligarchs tell us. And if you don't want to listen to the oligarchs, you can leave. Terry said, take care of you. Thank you. Thanks, Terry. That's what Republicans have turned all of you into, is just like front runners. Guys, we got to really respect the oligarchs. If you don't like it, then you can leave. We're not going to change anything. We're just going to be cucks for life.
In their campaigns.
As long as we got folks that want to come to this state that have hundreds of millions of dollars in their bank account, that want to make Montana into a playground for the rich, we're going to have a hard time having homes for working class people.
At the same time, a movement of tenants and unhoused people in Bozeman are fighting for the right to housing, even as the governor cuts taxes for the wealthy and blocks the policies that could create real change. We're going to go to 3 towns that represent the past, present, and possible future of the state. Each of those stories will show us how the ultra-wealthy are reshaping the American West. Okay, so we need to do a quick bit of history first to understand Montana's current economy. Let's go back to the late 1800s. An hour west of Bozeman is Butte, Montana, a mining town that once produced a third of the world's copper. Butte was once called the richest hill on earth, and local copper barons vied for control over the mine.
Hey, can somebody help Aaron Aranda? Aaron, this video right here, More Perfect Union. It's on YouTube. You're on YouTube right now too. If you don't want to interrupt, if you want to watch it uninterrupted, you leave and go find this. It's a More Perfect Union. They're unbelievable, and they deserve the views. So, Aaron, you can leave. If you need help leaving, we can help you out there. But one fun thing about this channel is when you guys complain about me stopping the video, I make it worse. So we're going to do 10 seconds, guys. This is dedicated to Aaron Aranda. Aaron Aranda, this is 10 seconds of silence that we're going to have here until we start the video again. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, Aaron, I hope you learned your lesson. Okay, bud?
At the turn of the century, some of the richest families in America lived in Butte. They were called the Copper Kings: Clark, Daly, Murray, Hines. But workers in those mines started organizing around the principle that a handful of people shouldn't be the only ones who benefited from the massive wealth being generated by this industry. The unions were powerful and militant. Some of the most violent strikes and union battles in history happened in Butte. There were years of unrest, but ultimately the workers won a lot of concessions. And for decades, Montana had some of the lowest income inequality in the country. Unfortunately, this wouldn't last. Most of the mines closed in the 1980s, and later a few reopened without a union. As mining and timber declined, the state made a choice to advertise itself as a destination for skiing and outdoor recreation.
The powder? Well,
You guys want to hear something kind of crazy too that sucks about, you want to hear something that fucking sucks about capitalism? Go look into the people that funded Yellowstone. Not the national park, but the TV series. I don't know if that's a conservative thing or not. I think I watched the first like 2 seasons of Yellowstone. I liked it. I thought they snuck in like some woke shit, which made me laugh. But as good as much as I liked that show and as great as a lot of people think that show was, a lot of that was meant to like get people to want to move to Montana. And it's the wrong people. You need people to move to Montana that are there to work and to create jobs or create services. Having rich people come in just creates like a servant class, and that's what we're going to get to. But like, that's why you don't. Same things happened in Utah. Somebody said it's happening in North Dakota, South Dakota too. So what happened in Florida? Like, Florida's a fucking mess right now. Texas is going to go through this soon. Arizona's going to go through it soon. These incentives people make for rich people to come to their state, it doesn't benefit them. There's a reason that California has like really high rates of unhoused people. It's because of wealth inequality. You guys can say, like, you can look and you could say that this is a left or right issue. It's Democrats versus Republican. But the problem is as people have left California, as wealthy people have left California and they've moved to Nevada and to Utah and to Idaho and to like Arizona, go look at Boise, look at Salt Lake, look at Phoenix Metro, look at Reno, look at Las Vegas, and go look at the house prices over the last like 5 years. And then after you look at the house prices, look at the rise in homelessness, and you'll see that as the house prices go up, the amount of people that are unhoused also goes up. Those things are always tied together. If the average person in your area spends more than 30% of their income on housing, for every percentage point that goes up, it usually goes up a percentage point for people being unhoused as well. Those are two like economic indicators. Sometimes like there's a weave. Sometimes they don't always go together. In this case, it almost always goes together. That you see a rise in homelessness with a rise in the percentage that you're paying towards your mortgage or your rate. Those always go together. So when you look at California and you say like California has a problem, you're correct. California has a problem. It's not, it has nothing to do with like Republican or Democrat, though. It has to do with wealth inequality. And so red states need to be aware of that when they're inviting this in. They need to be aware of what comes along with wealth inequality, but they're blinded by dollar signs. They're blinded by people moving in. And then the governor like Ron DeSantis or Spencer Cox or Doug Ducey when he was here, they all go up in a podium. They're like, we've made it such a great place to live that all these people are coming here. You didn't change what it was like to live there. You just charged them less taxes. And rich people, goddamn, they love money. And so they go like they go wherever they pay the least amount of taxes, and it fucks up everywhere they go. Look at Austin, Texas. You guys that are living there, you're seeing the problems there. Crime goes up, drug use goes up, unhoused levels go up, housing prices go up, grocery prices go up, car prices go up, hotel prices go up, Airbnb prices go up. Everything goes up when you do this. It doesn't ever work.
It's dynamite.
Today, tourism has replaced mining as Montana's biggest industry. Montana is creating a new generation of haves and have-nots, with some of the fastest growing income inequality in the country. And the modern Copper Kings are real estate developers and private equity firms. And the workers that are left out of this modern extraction economy are people like Charles Allen Touchton.
What you got? What you doing, Miss T?
Going to your eyes.
Yeah?
Yeah,
What did I do?
running that way.
It's probably where...
Looking good on camera, Charles.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to make this mug look good.
Charles Allen has been living out of his RV for almost 3 years. He's one of hundreds of residents of Bozeman that have been priced out of housing.
I am doing brakes on Miss Tina's van because this is how she makes her money. You know, if this van's not operating properly, then she can't DoorDash. She can't, you know, so she can't make no money.
During the pandemic, remote workers flocked to Bozeman, and there was a 36% jump in people who make over...
That price is crazy. Did that just say starting at $4.59?
During the pandemic, remote workers flocked to Bozeman.
Look at these. These are townhouses. These are, look, that's 1, 2, 3 houses. That's, so how many are in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 houses here in one picture, and they're $459. $500,000 in Bozeman, Montana. That's a problem.
Bozeman, and there was a 36% jump in people who make over $200,000 a year. In that same time period, Governor Gianforte made Montana a tax haven for the wealthy. Since 2020,
I like everybody that's here, like from their states, like that's the price in my state too. Fuck, we're fucked, guys. We might be fucked. Everybody's like, that's how it is here too.
He's cut taxes for the 1% and slashed corporate taxes. Housing prices have soared. The average single-family home in Bozeman is now over $830,000.
Jesus Christ.
And the average rent is up to $2,500. The housing crunch has led a lot of people like Charles Allen to live in their vehicles, and it's overwhelmed the shelter system in the city.
We ain't got but about a month, and all this green grass and all you see is gonna be under snow. So at least by October, by Halloween, there'll be 2-3 foot of snow on the ground.
Charles Allen moved to Montana to lay stones at the Yellowstone Club, a resort in Big Sky, Montana. To really understand what's happening in Bozeman, we have to go there.
There's a lot of anger and frustration about the ways that Montana is changing, like among all kinds of people, agricultural people.
Housing's expensive in Arizona too. I don't know comparative. I haven't looked at buying a house for a while. Right now, I'm looking. I think the market's gonna crash. So I haven't even looked at like housing prices. And I own a house, so I don't make enough money to buy a second house. But I'm looking at like apartments, or even I lived in an RV for a while, which I loved, and I may do that again. But I could just tell you, like my house, which is like 2,800 square feet, we paid $380, I think $380 in 2016, and it's worth over $1 million now. So it's the same here, same thing. But that happened like during the Trump administration, and Biden didn't do anything to fix it, but they deregulated, and now they let all these corporations buy houses, and they bought up all the houses, and it's been crazy. So it's not more affordable here. Even I looked at Payson, which is like an hour north of me. It's this very small town. And I thought, oh, there's not a lot of people there. There's no new house builds. I thought, like, maybe I would move north an hour. I'm still close enough to my daughter, and it's a little cooler. And it was more expensive there because people want to get out of the valley. So, like, even these small towns where you used to be able to live affordably, you can't even go buy in those small towns because people want to do like the Montana thing. They want to get out into the mountains, and the only way to do that is if you have a obscene amount of money.
Working class people.
Yeah, don't tell me about the Bay Area. I don't want to know.
All kinds of people.
We met with Joseph Bullington, a writer who's been covering the gentrification of Western towns. He took us to Big Sky, where the average house costs $3.5 million, and some of the richest people in the world are buying second and third, or maybe even fourth or fifth homes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like it's a resort and tourist town. But really, it's not a place where locals come and just like hang out unless they're here to work.
Yeah.
Actually.
Auxiliary pecker, I don't know what that is. You can already see it in Texas if you know where to look. Deep Ellum is almost entirely gentrified.
Cross Harbor Capital Partners is a private equity firm based in Boston that has been funneling money into the region for over 20 years. In 2014, Cross Harbor created a subsidiary called Lone Mountain Land Company, a developer that has built and owns half of the real estate in Big Sky. 11 million.
11.9.
Cross Harbor Capital also owns the Yellowstone Club, built in the 1990s as one of the most exclusive and well-guarded private resorts in the country. The Yellowstone Club was first built by timber baron and ski enthusiast Tim Blixeth, who bought and traded thousands of acres of land from the Forest Service. The club went bankrupt after a series of financial blunders and fraud.
Here's what's interesting. So Yellowstone Club files for bankruptcy November 11th, 2008. This is the financial crash. This is about to happen again, by the way. None of these people have learned their lesson. Notice it's the same people. They overextend themselves. They overvalue everything. They run up their net worth by making everything too expensive for people to live, and then it crashes. And then when it crashes, our government will say, we got to help these people. They can't live in poverty, and we'll bail all these people out, or they'll just declare bankruptcy, and then they'll do it again. Venture capital is... it's a cancer, it's a parasite, and we never do anything about it. We just think, oh, this time they're going to learn their lesson, and they never learn their lesson. The tech bubble's going to break. The venture capital bubble's going to break. It's going to affect housing. It's going to affect banking. It's going to affect utilities. It's going to affect everything. It is going to, and we are less prepared now than we were in 2008 to deal with it, because our economy in 2008 was like, it was strong, but the housing was tied into everything. So when it collapsed, it was a real problem. Our economy sucks a bag of dicks right now. So when this all crashes again, because it always fucking crashes, because we have this stupid idea where, like, I don't know why people think capitalism is a good idea, but this idea that, like, all prices have to go up all the time. That's like, our economy is designed for prices to go up every single year. Prices of houses, prices of groceries, everything. And it's supposed to be going up between like 2 and 3%. But these people get so arrogant that they drive up prices quicker, and then it's unsustainable. That's why if you're going to do capitalism, it needs to be heavily, heavily regulated. But you've all been sold a lie, or Republicans have been sold this lie that regulation is actually the problem. It is true that regulation keeps really rich people from accelerating their wealth. That's true. But regulation keeps wealth from accelerating past affordability for regular people. The irony is that in America and under capitalism, the more money you have, the less you have to work, and the more quickly you can accelerate money. What kind of American value is that? That, like, if you get to a certain level of wealth, you never really have to work again, and you keep making way more money than when you worked. So the hardest working people in this country make the least. The laziest people in this country are making the most money. That's why we're fucked. Being lazy, doing nothing, once you have a certain amount of money, is easier than working. If you go out and work, it's almost a waste of your time. I used to watch, like, all these, like, when I was a Republican, you see all these, like, inspirational channels, and you'd see some guy, there's a million of these, but somebody like, you know why I bought a private jet? Because I value my money. Yeah, the private jet's expensive, but I'm worth that money. It's worth it for me to buy a private jet to go to Beijing and then come back rather than waiting in an airport and flying commercial and having to stop at different places and go through customs. And so it's been a way for me to streamline. I'm so fucking effective. No, bitch, you just have so much money, and you go with other people that have so much money that you get together, you have drinks, you talk about like, hey, are you going to give me $100 million? Yeah, I'm going to give $100 million. Here's the contract, and then you fly back home. Maybe you go play golf or something. It's easier. I've been like not in the 1%, but like tax bracket. I've been in the top tax bracket. Good Lord, it was easier then. There were people everywhere that just like all these ideas of like how you could make money. And a lot of them were really simple. The most simple one is just like, hey, give us that money and we'll give you 8% returns every year. And like, okay. And now you're making more money than some people who are working 40 hours a week just off of the interest that you've made. It's a bad system.
2008. Real estate developer who founded the high-end Yellowstone resort near Big Sky.
Right, that's a good point. And then those same rich people then go to Congress and they're like, we need a tax break for our jet. And Congress is like, go ahead. We'll just rip Medicaid away from poor people to give you that tax break.
Been accused of illicitly pocketing hundreds of millions of members' dollars.
And that's when Cross Harbor Capital stepped in to scoop it up for a bargain price of $115 million.
Oh yeah, so here we are. There's the gate. We're not going to be going in there. It looks like they have it closed off, so we might have to turn back around here. I mean, yeah, I guess this is as close as we're going to get. But yeah, you can kind of look up in there a little bit. And there's a golf course out there somewhere. Clubhouse. Membership costs the price of one of their multi-million-dollar homes, plus like some annual dues.
Some of the members include Justin Timberlake and Tom Brady, as well as some very rich people who you've maybe never heard of. Waffle House chairman Joe Rogers Jr., Blackstone CEO Steven Schwartzman's son Teddy, the guy who founded Slack. Recent reporting.
Amy said your son, someone said, maybe said son sells RVs in Mesa. He's a AZ salesman. Message me, Amy. I might be in the market.
From Forbes showed membership was up to $78,000 a year and a one-time payment of $500,000. And like Joseph said, the cost of buying or building your own mansion. Yellowstone Club sits at the edge of Big Sky, and to the east are the gates of the Yellowstone National Forest.
I think that the reason that wealth is moving so steadily into this area, like the greater Yellowstone area, is because, because Yellowstone is known for being one of like the last intact ecosystems on Earth. This kind of growth has its own.
I think it's less than that. I was a Republican long enough that I was like a Joe Rogan guy for a long time. I liked Joe Rogan, and I was on the periphery when Joe Rogan like moved to Austin. Here's what happens. This is why people move. When you ask people like these rich people who moved to Montana and you say, why did you move here? And they're like, I was just sick. I was sick of LA, or I was sick of San Francisco. There's traffic everywhere. There's homeless people on the streets. It's drug riddled. It's all polluted. Everybody's just a million miles an hour. So I came out here. Oh, so you took a deregulated capitalism, fucked up a city, and then you said, oh, it's the city's fault. We better move out here to Montana. And now you're doing the same thing to Montana. Are we ever going to like pattern recognition? Is that not like a conservative thing? You guys don't recognize this, that every time a bunch of wealthy people consolidate all this money, no matter where they go, the trouble follows them? No, it's definitely the politicians. It's definitely the politicians that do this. It's not the rich people that move to a red state and the exact same fucking problems follow them. It's not that. By the way, somebody said to remind me, it's Swish. Happy birthday, Swish, if you're here. Tanya said to remind me to tell you happy birthday. So happy birthday. Bamarola says hump day. It's just like, how do you not see it? Somebody said, I don't remember who said, like, I think it was Cassie said, Jay moving towards leftism warms my heart. Like, I don't even know if this is leftism or not. I don't know what the fuck it is. It's just pattern recognition. If you say it's a political problem, but every time those same people move to another city and then wealth increases in that city and then that city has the same problem, I can't say that it's the politicians because you had Democrat politicians here and Republican politicians here. If you want to look at like California was like this. It was like the Wild West, right? You had the people coming over for the gold rush. And then you had obviously Hollywood in Los Angeles, and you had shipping magnates, and then you brought all these tech people in. And Ronald Reagan and Republicans that were running California forever, they convinced all these people to come from the East Coast. They're like, I know you guys like New York City, but check this out. It's sunny over here all the time. And it's way cheaper to live here in California. You can start your business here in California. Silicon Valley, it was a college town. It was a place where people went to get away from everything. And the governor of California, starting with Ronald Reagan and multiple Republican governors, were like, come to California. We'll give you all the tax breaks. Come on over here. And they built up these cities and they ran out poor people. San Francisco is a perfect example. They literally just like ran out black people from San Francisco and moved them across the river to Oakland. And then they gentrified every single neighborhood and they ran everybody out. And now it's this place where like, I can't believe that my mom was a school teacher here for 30 years and the Democrats have ruined this city. Oh yeah, it was the Democrats for sure. For sure, the Democrats were like, hey, that house you're selling, you need to sell it for 10x that. That's not what happened. What happened is California deregulated and California gave a bunch of people tax breaks. And now you have Democrats stepping in to try and fix this problem and taking the blame because that's what capitalists, that's what billionaires, and that's what Republicans do. They fuck everything up. And then when Democrats come in to fix it, because Democrats are the party for the people generally, when they come in and try and fix it, then they get the blame. Republicans are like, look, that's the blame. Same could be said with like healthcare, for example. You have a bunch of Republicans out there right now talking about how healthcare costs have skyrocketed since the Affordable Care Act. True. They've gone up about 60% since the Affordable Care Act was introduced. You know what? They take the same amount of years before the Affordable Care Act was enacted, prices had gone up 90%. So it's actually better. But Republicans are like, oh, it's the Affordable Care Act. That's the problem. Guys, that's the problem. We got to go back to the old way where it went up 90%. Republicans fix nothing. They break everything. Capitalism, crony capitalism, venture capital, billionaires, they fuck everything up. They are locusts. They just come in and they eat up all the resources, and then when the resources are gone, just like a pack of locusts, they leave too. It's a tale as old as time. There is not a place with wealth inequality in this country that you can't trace back to deregulation, low taxes, and incentives to get corporations to move there. You can't find me a place like that. I don't care what city you name. And then eventually when they've taken up all the resources, Detroit, they move. Philadelphia, they move. Pittsburgh, they move. And then what is it? Oh, the Democrats ruined these cities. Look at all these vacant houses. Look at all these people living in poverty. It must have been the Democrats. No, for sure it wasn't all those people that came in and built up an environment and they're like, oh, actually I can do this over in Taiwan instead. And then they just left. Democrats have to fix that messaging. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I'm tired of watching Republicans destroy America and then come in and blame Democrats.
Ecological consequences.
Cross Harbor Capital has expanded Yellowstone Club to 885 members and has made the club into what amounts to a standalone city. Work trucks, vans, and commuters drive up and down the road leading to the club, which employs about 1,700 people during its peak season. 74% of the workers in Big Sky commute, and most of those workers live in Bozeman. Big Sky accounts for 1 in 3 of all jobs in Madison and Gallatin County, but none of those workers can afford to live there. So let's recap. Montana used to be a land of mining barons who had their power checked through the confrontations with a densely unionized workforce. But after the industry shifted to tourism, the private equity firms and developers who took their place largely ran wild, extracting as much of the land as they wanted. This was a bargain that politicians were willing to make in exchange for economic growth. So let's go back for a minute to Butte. Today, Butte is home to 36,000 people, and it's still a place where people can afford their homes. They haven't seen the same steep rise in prices as Bozeman. But Butte is also
everybody in here is going, maybe I ought to move to Butte.
More economically depressed. Across the country, rural areas that have invested in tourism have seen their economy grow. The Daily Yonder reported that since the pandemic, rural counties that have resorts or national parks gained almost 60,000 new jobs. But towns like Butte that rely on mining and manufacturing are struggling, with more than 80,000 jobs lost since 2019. Bozeman might seem like it's doing better, but it's not clear if the bargain with the tourism industry is creating long-term benefits. Much of this new growth isn't from new jobs.
Oh, Aaron, you're still here? Aaron, I just want to point something out to you, since you want attention. I just want to point something out to you real quick. You're a kind of a coward, bud. You're literally just in here saying like parroting talking points oh, it's all Republican or it's all Democrat talking points. If you had answers to this, I was a Republican. I'm not a Republican. I mean, I'm technically still a registered Republican. My views have changed because of data. I'm somebody who's open-minded. You could just come in and fix my mind. I would change my show immediately. I would change it to just talking about what was true. If I'm so wrong, Aaron, I would love it if you would just come talk to me. But it seems like you're a little bit of a coward. You've been here for a few hours. You're begging for attention. When I finally give you attention, you're like, you do read my comments. You could come up here. And all this time, you could come up and you could fix all these talking points. I'll watch the video with you. But instead of sitting in the chat just saying that I'm wrong, it seems like you're a bit closed-minded on this one, Aaron. Just explain to me what I'm getting wrong. Explain to me which of those talking points I got wrong. I can't debate you from the chat. There's thousands of comments. I can't do that. I can watch this. But if you do want to be heard and you do want to correct the record because you're so smart, Aaron, please just come up and tell me about it.
For residents, it's from rents and dividends and capital gains. In other words, it's from passive income. Boosters of tourism say this new economic model has a lot of benefits. Today, Butte has to deal with a toxic legacy of the mines. To the east of the city sits the Berkeley Pit, an open mine filled with sulfuric water. It's one of the largest Superfund sites in the country. An economy reliant on tourism has more reason to preserve its forests and rivers and mountains. But as Montana attracts wealthy investors building high-end resorts, more and more of those natural resources are being cut off from the public. Because Cross Harbor Capital isn't done growing. In 2021, they bought 18,000 acres of land in a highly contested land swap with the Forest Service to build a private resort and golf course. Their new luxury ranch destination is in the stunningly beautiful Crazy Mountains to the east of Big Sky. Membership is by invitation only, and their website advertises fly fishing, snowmobiles, and premier golfing. Right now, we're at an inflection point. Much like the miners stood up against the Copper Kings, a new generation is drawing battle lines in Bozeman. 55% of residents in Bozeman are tenants. Half of them are rent burdened, meaning they spend more than 30% of their income on their rent. Everyone in Montana knows that housing prices are an issue, so the governor passed 2 bills that made it easier to build in places like Bozeman. These bills were widely celebrated.
High-density housing like that behind us here is part of the solution.
But
anytime you start hearing Republicans talk about high-density housing, anytime they start talking about like these big manufactured areas, that means they got paid. These aren't affordable. Just like economically, it doesn't make sense. Just think about it. If you take all these houses like the ones we saw before that were $459,000, who can afford to build all those houses? Only billionaires, right? Or people with big venture capital firms, people with access to a lot of money. Now they're buying that land at whatever the rate is then, and they need to make a profit on that, and they need to return an investment for their investors. So already the price is going to be higher than just if individuals bought them. My dad was a custom home builder growing up, and my dad got run out of business in Utah because all of these land developers started purchasing everything, and then they bought up all the lumber. They bought up all the. My dad also did bathroom mirrors. He wasn't able to purchase enough bathroom mirrors, so the manufacturer's like, we're not gonna sell you the mirror anymore, and it decimated my dad's business. This only helps them. It doesn't keep prices lower. It makes prices more expensive because on top of the purchase price, you also have to pay off investors. So it just adds another layer of money that people need to get paid, which increases the price of housing. And that's the frustrating part with Republicans. Like, if you are America first, if you are about affordability, if you are about freedom, stop letting a handful of people dictate prices. Why are governors of states such bitches, and why are they so unable to do something for people, but they're so quick to do things for corporations? The corporations give them money, and they say, "Look, you have a problem with housing. Housing's too expensive. It's supply and demand, right? We'll increase the supply, and that means that the house prices will come down." Well, so you guys are going to lose money? You're gonna use supply and demand economics, and then you're gonna lose money? That doesn't make sense. Why would anybody developing houses drive the price of housing down? Of course, they're not going to do that. Now, if the government did that, if the government came in and they said, we're going to build houses, and we're not expecting an ROI on this, and we'll make our money back eventually on this by renting them out, that could lower the price. But you're going to give it to capitalists? You're going to give it to people who have investors who demand a return on their investment immediately? In what world would giving contracts to people like this drive housing down? That's Econ 101. That doesn't make any fucking sense. None whatsoever. But somehow they convince all these really smart red state governors that this time it's going to work. And then you guys come in and you're like, yeah, I think this time it's going to work. For sure this time it's going to work. I want a home that I can't make any decisions on. I want it built for everybody else. I want it to just be rubber stamped like the house that I'm in right now. Looks exactly like every other neighbor's house. Everybody has the same appliances. You don't get any custom homes anymore. They just decide, and then they make a fortune off of it. And then they pay off their investors. I don't know why. I don't know how every Republican is this dumb. Yeah. What we got to do is get more people developing houses, and that'll drive the price down. Sure it will.
Still had to cater to corporate landlords and developers, so he kneecapped laws that would help build affordable housing, including a bill for inclusionary zoning. That bill required developers to include affordable units in any apartment complex they built. He also put a preemption on any kind of rent stabilization in Bozeman. Bozeman has actually been building a lot of
Why would you do that then? If it's about affordable housing, why would you put a restriction on rent stabilization? Right? Why would you? Wouldn't that seem like the right thing to do if you have these investors coming in, these developers, and they say, hey, look, we'll drive the price of housing down. You're like, well, historically, this doesn't drive housing down. So I believe you, but because I can't just trust you guys to do the right thing, I'm going to put in rent controls too to make sure that you guys can't just hike the prices. And then they're like, no, you're a Republican. You don't believe in regulation. You're like, oh yeah, I forgot. That's right. You guys just get everything. I remember now. We sell out to you guys. Never mind. Do whatever the fuck you want.
Units. But a lot of these new buildings are just too expensive for the people working in the city. In fact, the median price for a newly built single-family home is over $900,000.
We're seeing all of this development for like apartments that are being built, but I'm still seeing people living in campers. It's like, if there's really housing, why is nobody in it? And it's because it's unaffordable.
Oza Echomaker is a member of Bozeman Tenants United, a tenant organization that formed in 2022. She organizes with other tenants and with the unhoused residents of Bozeman, like Charles Allen. Oza lives in Bridger Heights, an affordable housing building not far from the town center. The owners 11 Capital, a developer based in Washington State, are selling the building, and the new owners are raising the rent. Oza says the building has a lot of problems.
We have black mold in every single one of the buildings. I have a neighbor whose window's broken, and it's like, surely in the 5 years since they've bought this place, like, fix one thing a month, and you'll still make a huge profit.
In just a few years,
Stephen, I don't know if you missed the first half of the show. You may want to go back before you accuse me of saying that one side is better than the other. This isn't about side. You're confusing. I guess maybe you're making that connection. I'm saying that the problem is that all these massive corporations and these billionaires are driving up the prices, and that Republican governors are letting them do it. I mean, you could show me. You could show me where this is happening other places, and I'm open. I'm sure there are blue governors who are doing this too. I don't think this is only one side of the aisle. I think that there are a lot of governors who capitulate to billionaires, red and blue. But right now we're talking about Montana, and we were talking about California before then. Those were red governors that did this. I grew up in Utah. That's a red governor. I live in Arizona now. I saw them do this. That was a red governor. So we talked about Texas. That's a red governor. We talked about Florida. That's a red governor. So if there's other states, I'm open to it. I'm sure that it's not just red governors, but that's who we've talked about so far.
Bozeman tenants have won a lot. They helped introduce and pass a cap on the number of short-term rentals in the city, providing more housing for residents. And now they're fighting for 2 national bills: a right for every tenant to have legal representation when they face eviction, and a cap on any rental property that gets federal loans from the FHFA, which would include Bridger Heights.
They're profiting off of the fact that we're too scared to lose our housing.
On top of all that, they helped elect a new mayor who was a tenant organizer himself. And he says housing will be central to his platform.
Montana is an extremely developer-friendly state. Almost all of our land use laws are written by and for the development community. And consequently, this increase in land value, the only people who are happy about it are developers and lenders.
Addressing the rising housing costs is crucial. But what can we do to directly tackle the wealth that is trickling down off the mountain, the billionaires in Big Sky? Well, it's not just the beautiful landscape that's luring them to the state. It's also the governor's generous tax breaks. It didn't start with Gene.
Thanks for the sub.
What the fuck? The largest tax cut in state history. Getting the job done. Tax cuts, safer roads, debt free in 23. None of you can afford a house. Get fucked.
Forte. Montana restructured its tax codes in a major way in 2003 when it lowered taxes.
Thanks for the gifted subs. Oh no, here we go. Appreciate that.
Richest, as well as the tax on capital gains like stocks and real estate. What the Republicans promised would be a boon for the economy only attracted more wealthy transplants. So when it comes to these wealthy part-time residents, there are some simple solutions. The state can raise resort tax and tax on the wealthy, and they can tax short-term rentals like Airbnbs as commercial real estate. And they can raise property taxes on second and third homes while lowering property taxes for residents. Tourism doesn't have to be bad for Montana or for the other western states. But much like the Copper King era, Montana risks becoming an extraction economy where the average person waxes the skis of millionaires instead of enjoying the new wealth that is being generated by their work in the state.
When my parents were raising me, we went on vacation. We had nice clothes. We had everything we needed. What, people supposed to work all month just to pay rent, not have no life?
But like, we're surrounded by public land. We got national forests on both sides. This river right here is public. What is happening with this, as this wave of wealth and this sort of booming of the outdoors industry in the state, is that they're finding ways to squeeze profit out of these things that are technically belong to all of us.
Thanks for watching the class.
All right, that's more perfect union. We took a left turn there, but thanks for Tim Sheehy for getting us there. We'll get back into the show now. I just wanted to show that. I've been wanting to show that for a while, so I'm glad that came up today. Ash said, "What kind of music do Bubbles hate?" It's pop. Jason said, "What does RTP stand for?" It doesn't really stand for anything, Jason. When I first started on TikTok, I made my living as a sports bettor. And I had like a logo that I had made. Some friends of mine had like a sports podcast from years ago, and we had a logo that was riding the pine. And so I just kept that logo and used it for my sports betting. And then I just kept the same. It's the same logo you see on the channel now, the one that's in the top right corner if you're watching on YouTube. And then I just stuck with it. So it doesn't really mean anything now, but at one point it did. Hey, Jen.
Minus the phallus.
That's right. We also had dick cactuses on there that Jen made me get rid of because the cacti looked like dicks, which I'm still pretty upset about that, honestly.
You didn't notice it until I pointed it out.
Yeah, and then when you pointed it out, I loved it even more, and then you made me get rid of it. So,
I mean, it was just weird. It wasn't my favorite. So I mean, it's better. I think the colors are better.
Thank you.
Aaron, I put him in timeout for a little while.
Oh, sorry, Aaron.
He kept crying about he didn't want to join Discord, so
it's too hard for him.
Yeah,
I have all the answers, but I can't join Discord. But I do have all the answers. Trust me. That's a good MAGA boy. I'll tell you, but Aaron, I don't want to.
Yeah. I wish sometimes they would give us. It's like 30 minutes, then 24 hours. I didn't want to go that extreme, but I thought he could take a break and think about what he's done. So you haven't updated the gift code.
I just did. I just did.
Oh, you just did it? Okay.
Take that.
Oh, there you go. High five. Air high five. So we are a ways away. We're about an hour left of the show. So if you guys could help us out, this is our job. We do this each day, Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 1. So Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats, all go towards knocking out that balance, that gift goal balance, so that we can keep coming in and pissing Larry off, because Larry's saying don't pay, get out. If you guys want to report to make Larry mad, that's cool. And like I said,
thanks,
to
Larry.
Aaron, if you guys disagree with RTP, you can come up and talk to him. And how you do that is if you look at the Venmo username, that is my Discord handle. So if you want to DM me on Discord, you could come up and actually have a conversation. Jay's got the attention span of a goldfish.
What's that?
So exactly. So he won't catch all the comments. He'll catch 1 or 2 in there. So, but he's not going to debate you from the comments. So if you'd like to come up and talk, that's how it's done. Is you add me on Discord and I can bring you on. So also check out our link tree. We're on most social media platforms. Jay's on Cameo. We upload these episodes to Spotify. And
did Larry get a gifted? Hold on, I think Larry got a gifted sub. Maybe did Larry get a gifted sub, or is
Larry,
he a subscriber?
Larry has been a sub for a while. I don't know if
Thanks, Larry.
I have a theory, and I don't necessarily want to say it out loud because I don't want other people to know this
you.
theory.
I hear you.
But I have a thought.
I hear you.
Why he might have subscribed. Yeah. So there's all that. What else? Oh, tonight's date night with Admir. So we'll be on TikTok main. So if you don't want to go through the Discord way to come up and talk, you can actually come and debate on Discord. Or not on Discord, excuse me, on TikTok. We'll have the guests open on TikTok tonight at 6 Pacific. Date night with Admir and probably Amanda. So if you guys want to go back to that later tonight at 6 and Discord freaks you out, that's another option. So
there you go.
What do you call a man without a body and a nose?
I don't know.
Nobody knows.
I love that one. Amy said, 2006, I worked on a painting crew on Capitol Hill in Seattle. They brought up low-income apartments, put Bondo on dry, rotten windows and door sills, sealed it and painted over, then sold as high-end condos. Jesus Christ. Of course. RGZ Mom said, get wrecked, Larry. You can't make me. Take that, Larry. Did we figure? Yeah. Thanks, Larry. I appreciate you being here. You're actually good for business. Let's read some of these that came in that I missed. Kyle says, no need to read aloud. Appreciate you covering Montana. I read it aloud anyways, Kyle. I can't stop, won't stop. Purdy Kiki, excuse me, says, thanks for all you do. We appreciate you. And Tiger Lady says, fuck you, Larry. Fuck you, Larry. Sorry, Larry. It's a tough break for you today, Larry. Could be worse. You could be text. Things could be worse for you, Larry. Did I read all the ones from Jen? Jamar said, happy birthday, Swish. MAGA lives in reality TV. I like that. All right, let's get back to Republicans. This week we have the No Kings rally, and Republicans are now just admitting that they've rebranded it as a Hate America rally. Mike Johnson's not very good at this. It's not catching on. I'm not hearing even the Republicans say it, like the MAGA base. It just seems to be them. But here they are again trying to brand this as the I Hate America rally.
I mean, the contrast between these parties could not be any more stark. And I encourage you to watch. We call it the Hate America rally that will happen Saturday. Let's see who shows up for that. I bet you see pro-Hamas supporters. I bet you see Antifa types. I bet you see...
Yeah, you might see anti-fascists at an anti-fascist rally. You may just see that, Mike Johnson. It may happen. You might see some people that are advocating for Palestine and hoping that this genocide is over. You might see that, Mike Johnson. These evil people that don't want genocide and these evil people that hate fascism, you'll see they hate America.
See the Marxist in full display, the people who
Marxist. What's wrong with Marx? Did he just do Trump? He's been around Trump too long. Well, tell me this isn't a Trump cadence here. He's losing it. Mike Johnson's fault. He's not made for this.
Full display, the people who don't want to stand and defend the foundational truths of this republic.
Did I not go back far enough?
Don't
Hold on.
want Marxist in full display, Antifa types. I bet you see the Marxist in full display, the people who don't want to stand.
He got them all. He got all of them. It's the Marxists, it's the Leninists, it's the fascists, it's the furries, it's the dancing frogs. Yeah, we get it, bud.
And defend the foundational truths of this republic, and we do, and that's what we're here doing every single day. And
it's not gonna work. I don't think it's gonna work. I might be wrong about that. Tommy's real mom said, Jen's jokes are the only reason I'm here every day. That was a great joke by Jen. That was a definite winner. Here's Representative Pat Harrigan. He also is talking about No Kings. I don't know who the fuck he is, and I wouldn't have shown this except for I have I have this thing. I like when people try and pretend they're smarter than they are, and they say words incorrectly and confidently. I don't know who the fuck this guy is. He looks awful. He looks straight out of Central Casting for for a white supremacist, which I'm gonna get. Let's just look him up. Let's see. Pat Harrigan. Where is he from? Pat Harrigan is from North Carolina. Not a good start. Let's see what happens if I go look at him in the news. This seems to be the only thing he's in the news for. He was sued for libel. Anything else here? Oh, we gotta kill all the Muslims. Oh yeah, he doesn't like the Muslims. Okay, gotcha. All right. Anyways, watch him pretend that he knows what this word is.
Because I just didn't see an off-ramp here. I think there are a couple natural off-ramps for the Democrats to take with this. I think one of them happens after this No Kings rally this weekend. That's the blue hair anthropomorphic.
What was that word there?
Experiment that's going to happen up here in Washington, D.C. The blue hair anthropomorphic.
What's that word?
That's the blue hair anthropomorphic.
What's he saying? What's he saying about the blue hair anthropomorphic? Anybody know that one? Anybody know that word? You're so close. I just have a thing for people who are trying to be. He went blue hair anthropomorphic. All right. That's all. Everybody there is going to have blue hair. If you don't show up with blue hair, you got to go home, okay? Nobody at the No Kings protest with that blue hair this weekend. I want to show that this is from Zateo. We talked yesterday about Pete Hegseth and how they're going to squash opposition. Actually, let me skip this one because I basically already covered that and we're running. You want to read that, though? Go to Zateo. It's the Pentagon Hegseth speech, military consequences. You may want to read that. I want to skip, though. I want to go to the Adelsons. As we talk about this ceasefire and this peace agreement over in Gaza, it's important to remember that the people that are paying Donald Trump all the money, the Adelsons specifically, they are not America first. They are Israel first. They will always be Israel first. We do need to remember that the people who are giving Trump most of his money actually are more loyal to Israel than Trump. This is Trump's biggest donor. What did he give? What job did he give Miriam Adelson again? Didn't she did she get an ambassadorship or something? Or he tried to give her one. Did he give her? Or maybe just Sheldon Adelson was the ambassador. Anyways, listen to Sheldon Adelson talk about his loyalty.
Somebody said that the Adelson family has nothing to gain except that which is in our heart. I am not Israeli. The uniform that I wore in the military, unfortunately, was not an Israeli uniform.
Unfortunately, it was not Israeli. It was an American uniform.
It was an American uniform, although my wife was in the IDF, and one of my daughters was in the IDF, and my our two little boys, one of whom will be bar mitzvah tomorrow. Hopefully he'll come back.
These people live in America. Sheldon Adelson's a casino owner in Las Vegas. These are American citizens who fund Donald Trump. He's dead, actually, so she does. He's dead now. But they're talking about it's unfortunate that they had to serve in the United States military. It's too bad they couldn't serve in the Israeli military, but at least their kids did. Their American citizen children went and served in the IDF, but not the American military.
Thank you. Hopefully he'll come back. His hobby is shooting, and he'll come back and be a sniper for the IDF. All we care about is being good Zionists, being good citizens of Israel, because even though I'm not Israeli born, Israel is in my heart.
All we care about as American citizens is being good Zionists and being good citizens of Israel. Got any questions? Got some questions about your America First Party, guys. Giving money to all these foreign countries, giving money to Argentina. Seems like we're only loyal to Israel. It's kind of weird, right? That's if Elon Musk didn't exist, that would be the biggest donor to your party. I hope my son gets to come back and be a sniper so he can shoot Palestinian children. Fuck DJ T said no blue hair equals no check. That's right. That's right. No checks from Soros if you don't have blue hair. Rory said, imagine people not wanting a king. That's crazy. AB said, we went to Olympia, Washington for last No Kings. Average age was 50 plus, had pastors, veterans, groups, soldiers, elderly, disabled, and so on going again. We'll make sure your hair is dyed. Just want to make sure. Guy Fox said, I really enjoy how terrified MAGAs are of the No Kings rally. Rory said, how dare them? And Sarah said, because Larry said not to, and I don't follow directions. Appreciate that. All right. Remember we talked about Corey Mills? Do you guys remember Corey Mills? There was this story. He was like a married guy that had a girlfriend, and then like his other girlfriend found out about his other girlfriend, and then he beat up that girlfriend, and then they called the police, and the police wrote out a police report, but then he paid her off, and then she like was down in Florida with him. Well, he has a different girlfriend now. Or she just broke up with him too. He was dating somebody that was Miss America. I'll have her name here. Let's see, what was her name? I'll pull it up in a second. Let me switch these. Yeah, let me switch the order here. I'm going to go 20, then 19 first. Now he's in court, and what he's being accused of now is threatening his girlfriend after she broke up with him to release all of her nude photos. And again, this is a person who already beat up a woman, threatened her, paid her off, and has been accused of multiple women of assault. And now he's threatened a third girlfriend while he's married with releasing her nude photographs. And this is the Party of American Values. This is Corey Mills in court testifying in this case against him.
Local Republican Congressman Corey Mills has just ended, and the judge is now weighing the evidence to see if a restraining order will be slapped on Mills to protect his former girlfriend.
She says Mills threatened to release sexually explicit videos and harm anyone she dated. West News political reporter Greg Fox live in Columbia County, where the hearing just wrapped up. And Greg, you were there as Mills took the stand?
We were there, and the courtroom was listening to every word he was saying, and everything he said contradicted what his former girlfriend was saying. Mills calls this a complete misunderstanding, and he says he never said.
It's not what I meant. When I said I was going to release them all and harm anybody she dated, I meant I'm going to delete them and pray harm upon them. I didn't really mean it. Limbo also said, imagine being American and wanting a king.
He was going to hurt her, never going to hurt anybody else, and that this is a private matter about their relationship. Let's take you inside the courthouse right here where this hearing ended just a short while.
Do you think that's why, Corey's why Trump brought up little tiffs in the home? If you don't know what she's talking about, when Trump was like, crime is down unless you count like little tiffs in the home, domestic violence, in which case it's up. It might be.
Ago, it was a continuation of one that began on September 5th. Following the sheriff's office complaint filed by Lindsay Langston against Mills in July. Langston is the reigning Miss United States and a Republican committee woman in Columbia County. During both hearings, her attorney showed text and Instagram chat messages after Langston broke up with Mills that Langston claims were threatening to her and to people she's close to, and that Mills threatened to release nude videos and photos of her, which he vehemently denied on the stand today.
Not to harm. To inform that you're dating me and saying you want to reconcile, and I'm sure that individual did not know that same exact thing, or maybe he did.
That's what he was doing. See, the thing about Corey Mills, who is actually still married, though they've been separated for a long time, and has had like 3 different girlfriends that he was all keeping from these other girlfriends. What he was actually doing is he was preparing these other men because he didn't want them to be in a relationship with her if she still had feelings for him. He was just going to inform them. That's the kind of, he's just a stand-up guy, Corey Mills. That's the defense he went with. I was just warning them maybe that like she still had feelings for me. Okay.
But I felt that it was pertinent that the videos that where I'm with her in the kitchen or where I'm with her in other areas should certainly, but to
what other areas there? Isn't that crazy? He said, I'm going to release all your private videos. He's like, could be ones in the kitchen or other areas. This testimony is rough, dude. You are really dancing around the truth.
no point was there ever any reference and or intent to have anything which was salacious as being assumed.
I felt the pressure of the world to attend all of these events and keep up my public image when I was dealing with all of this stuff privately, and I didn't want it out in the public. I didn't want people to look at me differently, or I didn't want pity from people. I just wanted it.
It's so crazy that she has to say that. She can just say, like, it doesn't matter why you didn't want those out. You don't owe anybody an explanation. That's what's crazy to have to sit in court and say this. You have to sell the jury on, like, hey, look, the reason I didn't want all these sexually explicit videos about me is I didn't want to be judged. It's crazy that you have to provide an explanation for that.
Resolve, and it got to a point where I couldn't handle it anymore, and I had to put that pride aside. I had to put that public image aside and say, I need help. It's not getting better. I've asked him to stop. I've asked him to stop. Please leave me alone. Please, 11 times.
11 times. No means keep trying when you're a Republican, man.
Both sides finished making their arguments. The judge ordered the attorneys to provide proposed judgments by the end of the day on October 2nd. He would rule after that. Congressman Mills told me weeks ago that he had been separated from his wife since 2021, and his divorce became final in May of last year. But under oath today on the stand, he said his wife just recently filed divorce papers. Lindsey Langston.
Yeah, I'm not going to judge there, but just pointing out, he is a liar. He lies a lot. God damn, does this guy lie a ton.
Broke up with Mills back in February, she says, because she learned through the media that he had been charged with assault in Washington, D.C. on a girlfriend up there. That charge has since been dismissed. This is a developing story, and we'll have...
the charge was dismissed. It was I don't think it was dismissed. I think they're wrong there. I think the charge was dropped. She dropped the charge. It was not dismissed. I think they got to be careful with is this NBC? Yeah, I think they need to be a little more careful with their language.
Complete report coming up on West G News at 6. Live in Columbia County, Greg Fox, West G News.
All right. Well, the thing is, though, and what I want to just so Republicans, they're not all like this. They don't accept him. They'll obviously have harsh words about Corey Mills. I'm not trying to say that like Republicans are out here defending Corey Mills or pretending that it's not a big deal. They would never do something like that. This is the party of family values. So I just want you Republicans to make sure you know. I'm not saying it's all of you. I'm not like Mike Johnson. He wouldn't say like this is okay or like we're just ignoring it. Mike Johnson is a good family Christian man, has obvious thoughts on that, and here they are.
It's been reported for a while. Corey Mills was accused of beating a girlfriend in his D.C. apartment. He was accused of stolen valor by the people that he claimed to have saved on the battlefield that have been on the record.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot that he pretended he saved a bunch of people in war. So he's a liar about his service, stolen valor, abuses women, all the things that dude, you guys just wait for this. Mike Johnson's about to fucking go off. You Republicans that are still here, you're gonna love this because you're gonna be able to throw this in all the liberals' faces because Mike Johnson, he's a man of principle, and Republicans have principles, and they're gonna bury this dude just like the Democrats did, even worse than the Democrats did with Barney Frank and with Andrew Cuomo. Watch how bad Mike Johnson buries this dude right now. If I'm a Republican, be ready to be proud because he's going to rip Corey Mills to shreds.
He did not save them. I mean, this has been happening since the beginning of the year. Are you concerned about these allegations against Corey Mills?
Look, you have to ask Representative Mills about that. I mean, he's been a faithful colleague here. I know his work on the Hill. I mean, I don't know all the details of all the individual allegations and what he's doing in his outside life. You have to ask him about that. Let's talk about things that are really serious.
Let's talk about serious things. We're not going to talk about abusing women. Let's talk about serious things. Yes, sir. I'd like to talk about Epstein. I said serious things. That's a cool party you guys have. A really fucking cool party you have. I know that he votes with us every time, and that's all that matters in this party, is that you vote with Donald Trump. Character is irrelevant. I'm not going to get into that. Speaking of sexual deviance and pieces of shit, Andrew Cuomo, the man who sexually harassed his staff and had to step down because of so many allegations, including, I think, didn't he like slap somebody's butt? I know there was one quote where one of his staffers came in and they were complaining about like somebody sexualizing them, and he's like, I get it, I'd sexualize you too. It's like, what the fuck? Dude, they didn't want this to happen. Anyways, man with principles, Andrew Cuomo, is now criticizing Mamdani. For what reason? Cuomo, who sought to paint attempted to paint Mamdani as an extremist, has honed in on questions about Mr. Mamdani's stance on prostitution. It's illegal in New York, but district attorneys usually choose not to prosecute, focusing instead on cases that relate to sex trafficking, which makes sense. That's a crime with a victim, right? Sex trafficking. It is a victimless crime if you willfully are a sex worker. If you choose to have sex for money and somebody chooses to pay you, there's no victim in that crime. But if you get trafficked and you're forced to have sex with somebody, that is a crime that includes a victim. So good for you, New York, for focusing on that crime instead. But Mr. Cuomo, the sex pest, has decided he wants to make his opponent look like a sex pest. Cuomo, who's running for mayor, has claimed that Mr. Mamdani, the Democratic nominee, wants to further legalize prostitution. It's not legal. He wants to further, I don't know if you can further legalize something that's illegal, pointing to his previous support for the state bills that would decriminalize it. Cuomo has said Mr. Mamdani's past positions show that if elected, he would bring New York City back to the bad old days of rampant crime, decreased public safety, and deteriorating quality of life. That's crazy. Just like, we're pro sex work. If you want to do sex work, no issue there. But like, to say that decriminalizing sex work would bring back rampant crime, I don't know. I've never seen any metrics that go along with that. Yeah, the more people pay for sex, the more that they burn down buildings. Arson skyrockets. Decreased public safety, I would say that would increase public safety, because now you're not relying on some management. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word. A sex worker manager or human traffickers. If people are allowed to do this openly and they don't have to worry about the police catching them, maybe it would be safer. And deteriorating quality of life. I don't know about you, but when I come, it makes my life a little bit better. Maybe this would make things better for people in New York. Mamdani has stressed that he's never supported legalization and called Mr. Cuomo's comments smears. Mamdani's campaign has indicated that he broadly supports decriminalizing sex work, but he has not said whether he still favors legislation that would remove criminal penalties for adults 18 or older who buy or sell sex. Here's what to know about the issues that's playing out in the mayoral race. Right now, the way that it's enforced, in recent years, de Blasio advocated for ending criminal penalties for prostitutes. By the way, this is smart by de Blasio. This is just common sense shit. This is just looking at a situation, putting your own personal morals aside and saying, like, let's do the right thing. De Blasio advocated ending criminal penalties for sex workers. The police department's crime-fighting efforts turned instead toward disrupting gang and organized crime activity related to sex work. Between 2014 and 2022, arrests for a variety of charges related to sex trades plummeted, according to analysis of the crime data. Okay, so people who were sex workers, way less arrests. Some people might say that's a bad thing. I'd say that's a good thing. But since Mayor Adams took office in 2022, the police department has devoted more resources to cracking down on brothels in Queens, particularly on Roosevelt Avenue in Jackson Heights, a notorious center for prostitution. Arrests on sex work related offenses rose from 162 to 439. Shout out Eric Adams, the phoniest fucking progressive ever. He was a cop, and he sold you guys a bill of goods in New York that you never should have believed, but you did. And now they decided to go after women again, because when all else fails, go after women. There are 480, and I think out of the 485 arrests, I think I looked, only like 40 of them were men. That's why I say going after women. I'm not saying that men can't participate in sex work. That's just how the data broke down. The police department said in a statement that it emphasizes providing support services for victims and survivors of sex trafficking over enforcement. Basically what they did is they kept arresting people for sex work, and then they're like, we'll put you in a diversion program. They tried to put them into like re-education camps. Like, you can go to jail, or we can send you to this re-education camp for something that, like, I don't know how much more you could have control over your body. I don't know why, if you have a body, you can't have somebody pay for sex. I don't know why. Isn't that your body? My body, my choice, right? It just one thing I think that I don't know how to fix with our country, and this isn't just an American thing, but people who think that their personal morals need to be legislated. I don't want those people around anymore. I want those people to all go to a different country. Please. I am so frustrated with people basing their entire ideology and ideas around their own morality. I'm going to use this example again because I just don't fucking care anymore. But like, one example on TikTok is Logic and Liberty, who I've said before, I think is a very intelligent person. And I thought, like, on the right, I was like, oh, this is a reasonable person on the right. And then she's like, I'm going to make my entire identity hating trans people because I don't believe trans people should exist. And now that's what she's dedicated her life to. What a sad fucking existence, to dedicate your life to making sure that other people can't live the life that they want to live, that's hurting nobody. Imagine having to make up lies about like what they're doing to your children, when like the real people harming your children, you like, ironically, this is the craziest part about her transformation, ironically started wearing a cross, started talking about Jesus more. It's like, excuse me, you think that trans people are a danger to your children, and then you embraced Christianity? You like, there's priests over there. You know about priests, right? You embraced an organizations that actually are a danger to children, and then you blamed all of these problems on trans people. I think that's what, like, I think that's why Republicans don't have any like political identity. I think that's why when we talk to Republicans, they can't explain any of their plans or any of their policies. They just want to get rid of people that are different than them. And they only want to talk about people that are different than them because they feel icky. They're small-minded. They're not open-minded. They're small-minded. However they lived is the way that things are going to live. And again, it's just another example of like people getting into their 30s and 40s, and they're like, I'm not evolving anymore. I'm just done evolving. How things were the first 30 years of my life, they cannot change. And I'm now going to dedicate my life to making sure that there's no change. All this other change before me, that was good. But now is the time that we have to stop progress. Progress can go too far. And then they live their rest of the rest of their life as a bigot. And that's how that old adage goes. Like, the older you get, the more Republican you get. Like, as people get older, they become more conservative. It's because they just quit thinking. They quit adapting. They quit looking at the world as a place where they can learn. They're like, oh, I've already learned everything. I know it all. I'm a parent. I'm in my 30s, my 40s. Maybe I'm a grandparent. I know the answers to all these things now. So I'm just done evolving. And anything that's different than what I believe in, anything new that comes up, I'm just automatically going to hate it. Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl? These motherfuckers, we've gone too far now. They're going to speak Spanish at the Super Bowl. And that's how you wind up being a Republican. It's legal in Nevada. I don't think it's legal in Nevada. I think only in some places. I can't remember the place that they have the brothel. What's the name of the city where they have the brothel in Las Vegas? I don't think it's legal. Is there anybody here from Vegas? It's not legal, right? I know they don't really do anything about it. Outside the city limits, it's legal. Okay. Oh, interesting. That's crazy. So inside of Las Vegas, Bunny Ranch, thank you. Inside, it's legal inside Nevada, but not in Las Vegas. So it's like a city ordinance? Pahrump is what I was thinking of. Thank you, Paco Taco. Yeah, I was thinking of Pahrump. I didn't know that about Las Vegas. That's the exact opposite of what I would have thought. I would have thought that it was like legal in Vegas, but not other places. All right. Well, shout out Nevada. Good job, guys. What time is it? 12:25. Let me check some messages. We've got about 30 minutes left, and then I'm gonna end on time today since we have date night with Admir. Let me check these. I think I read that from Kyle. I'm pretty sure. Ginger said, only men have a choice over their body, silly Jake. That's a good point. I forgot about that. Get fucked, ladies. You don't have any control. Ginger said for anthropomorphic blue hair dye. Tim said Dollar Train love will be at Sun City, Arizona. No Kings. That's going to be the oldest No Kings protest in the country. I think Sun City, if you guys don't know, it's a city in Arizona. The entire city is 55 and up. I don't think you can live in Sun City unless you're 55 and older. It's not even a real city, I don't think. I don't know if it's technically Phoenix or like, I don't know what city it technically is, but that's going to be that'd be a good place to go. It's going to end early for sure. Jazzy scooters. A lot of golf carts will be out there. A lot of jazzy scooters. Those are my people. I want to go to Sun City. All right, Jen, I'll update it. Sec. Where did it go? Guys, I want you to know how hard today has been for me without my ADHD medication. This is what you're witnessing today is a real miracle. I haven't broken anything. I haven't walked away. I haven't quit early. I've wanted to. I heard a noise outside, and I wanted to go outside and check it out. I just want you to know that I'm doing this for you guys. I'm working as hard as I can not to be distracted by ADHD. Did I even do what Jen just told me to do? Yeah, I did it. All right, moving on. Let's talk about healthcare for a minute, and then we're going to talk about the difference between Republicans and Democrats. Here's AOC. It's a good video. AOC is good at not doing cringe stuff. More people need to do AOC content. And Chuck Schumer, just because you see her walking with a microphone outside doesn't mean that you should shoot a commercial while you're walking with a microphone outside. You should just have somebody else shoot your commercials.
Hey everyone, it's Rep AOC. I'm out here at Stevenson Commons in the Bronx.
Why are you guys all gentle parenting me? Fuck all of you. Now, don't say muted either. No, you guys can't take advantage of this. Knock it off. This is one of the most difficult days of my life. I don't have my meds because for some reason my doctor is blacklisted. Like no pharmacies will take my doctor. I might have a really bad doctor, guys. I might have like a criminal doctor because a CVS won't do it. Bash's won't do it. Safeway won't do it. Nobody will take prescriptions from my doctor. So maybe that's why it's inexpensive. I don't know.
And one of the reasons why I'm here is because while the government is shut down, Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, has refused to call the House back into session. And so if he doesn't want us in Washington, D.C., I'm going to make sure that we're doing our work here. I'm going to visit someone in our community. Her name is Milagros. And Milagros relies on an essential plan, which is one of the key healthcare programs that are going to be eliminated due to the Republican changes in Medicaid and the ACA and healthcare overall.
So I'm taking Monjaro, and I'm taking Jardians, and I'm taking Metformin.
These are very expensive medications. And you're telling me that you started skipping doses.
Yeah, skipping doses, even though I told my doctor because I was on it, he said, don't do that. You're going to kill yourself.
And so these are all your medicines that you take.
High blood pressure, diabetes. Without the insurance, it's going to be a lot of money.
So all of this every month costs you about $20.
Yes.
Because of the essential plan that you have right now.
Yes, yes.
And now, because of these Republican changes,
it's going to be eliminated.
And I can't even imagine how much all of this is without that.
It's a couple of thousands.
So you're going to go from paying $20 a month to potentially paying over.
I'm not going to be able to pay. So I got to get me 3 different jobs.
I mean, more than that.
Yeah.
Your health insurance is getting eliminated because of these Republican changes. And so you, in anticipation of that, you are stretching out.
This is so pathetic, and when I'm watching it, I look at the notes. Like there inevitably there's going to be a Republican in here who's like, well, if you can't work, then if you can't pay for it, get a second job. It's pathetic that like we're the only country that has to have that response. And Republicans, you guys only have to have that response because you know goddamn well nobody in your party is going to do anything about this. That you guys are just going to keep protecting the health insurance companies, these absolute criminals that do nothing more than write a check. That's what sucks. Like, this is so obvious. It is so obvious that we need to fix this. And Republicans don't want to do it because their pockets are lined. And Republican voters don't want to do it because you guys just hate us so much. You hate the idea of socialism or social medicine so much that you won't do it. None of you can explain it. But like, there's going to be people in America that die. If she can't get a second or third job, by the way, it's not easy to find a job right now either. She'll die. That's the reality. This AOC is sitting across on a couch with somebody who, if this isn't solved, will die. Her doctor's already telling her, you will die. If you don't take this medicine, you will die. And in America, that's okay. Because we have Republicans and we have capitalism and we have free markets, baby, and we have freedom. And we don't use that commie healthcare. So fuck it, just go die. Work 12 jobs or die. What kind of life is that? You cucks are crazy. Like, we're the richest country in the world. As the richest country in the world, why are we not trying to come up with a solution where people have to work way fucking less? All this money, all this wealth. And we're not like, hey, what if we had people work like 20 hours a week? Why is the solution to all of this work more? What kind of life is that? How many of you have parents that are above the age of 60 who are still working full-time just to make ends meet? How many have parents that are in their 70s that are working, that want to retire, that are working full-time just to make ends meet? I do. My mom's retired on a teacher's pension with benefits. She still has to work. The richest country in the world, and we are telling people, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. The fuck? We don't have to do that. We're not that country. We can just have a better system where wealth is distributed more equally. But no, we can't have that. It's not cool, dude. You gotta work hard. These billionaires, they deserved it. They deserve all of that. So just fucking die. My mom died at 60 because she couldn't afford medication. Yeah. Dad worked till he's 72 years old. My wife is 67, teacher, still working. I'm above 60 and won't be able to retire until I'm 70. I worked till I was 67. 75-year-old stepdad is still working. Yeah, that's so fucking pathetic. And it's a culture problem too. Like, you got Ben Shapiro, like, I don't know, and what's his name? The other fucking guy. Who's the guy that tells everybody to save money? Dave Ramsey. You should just work until the end of your life. You will not be fulfilled unless you work till the end of your life. That means you're not fulfilled in life. Nothing fulfills you but money. There's a lot of people who are fulfilled. They just want to go to work to pay their bills. They don't really give a shit about saving a bunch of money. They don't really give a shit about investing. They just want to pay their bills and then come home and enjoy their family. Like the character, Jerry, is it even Jerry changed his name so much on like Parks and Rec? One of the parts of that show that I really loved is when he retired. He was like, they asked him about the job and he's like, the success for me was that like I was home every day at 5 o'clock and that I'm able to retire and I'm able to see my family. That was success for me. Hold on one second. What's up, baby? Hey, I'm on my show. What's up? No, you can't come in right now. I'll be done in like 25 minutes, okay? You want some, there's some bubble gum downstairs in the, I need to get you a toy. Okay, you gotta go though. Okay, but you gotta go because I'm live right now. There's people watching. They love you. Sorry about that. I told her because she got a good report card that we'd get her a new toy, and she came to remind me about that when she got home from school. So I don't remember what I was talking. That's it though. But that's the same thing. Like, we should all be able to just enjoy the end of our lives with our family. We shouldn't all have to think like, I have to save all this money. I have to invest. I have to work 3 jobs just so that someday maybe I'll be able to enjoy retirement. I think it's just a pathetic existence.
Your medicine.
Not only we pay for medication, we also have to pay our bills.
And the Con Ed bills are going up.
Exactly.
What I hear from a lot of my Republican colleagues is, if you're already on Medicaid or if you're already on a plan like this, you have nothing to worry about. They're saying we're only going after fraudulent people, but milagros.
That's not what I'm seeing. That's not what I'm seeing every day. And
you are working. You also have significant medical conditions. We cannot allow healthcare, medicine to become a luxury good.
And I pray for God to just keep fighting for us, to give you health and everything. Okay? Because you do a lot for us. She advocating for our health plans, medical coverage.
All right. Let's contrast that. Let's contrast that with Byron Donalds. Goes on CNN. Byron Donalds goes on to give the Republican rebuttal about healthcare. Let's see what their plan is. Do you think they have a plan, or do you think their plan is just going to be to point at Democrats and say bad?
Cost. I don't think that the American people should bear that burden today, but we have to repeal and replace this program. It has never worked.
With
the
what?
costs have gotten out of control,
with what?
and the American people feel it.
So,
I think
with
the
Hold
overall.
on. Wait, Congress, I'm sorry. I know we get cut off because we're remote and we're talking over each other. I don't mean to do that, but I do want to be very, very clear for the American people. Replace it with what? And do you have the time, given that there is right now the heat felt by Americans, particularly federal workers, but also Americans facing this end of the year ending and expiration? Is there the time to replace it in a way that does not impact everyday Americans who need the health care?
Well, a couple of things. One, you can replace it with getting rid of a lot of the regulatory requirements of the Affordable Care Act.
All right, you're going to get rid of it, and you're going to replace it with what? Well, we're going to replace it with getting rid of it. Huh? No, we got that part. You said you're going to get rid of it, and then what are you going to replace it with? We're going to replace it with getting rid of it.
What Obamacare did, it basically required every American in the exchange to be able to cover just about every medical procedure possible. One of the big flaws is that young people do not actually take these plans the way they originally said that they would, because the plans are too expensive. So young people are saying, I'll pay the fine. I'm not going to go and pay these extraordinary premiums and even higher deductibles.
Isn't the fine gone? Didn't we get rid of the fine? Isn't that one of the things they did? Am I wrong about that? I thought we got rid of that, right? Okay, yeah. Byron Donalds just isn't. I'm like, am I crazy? I could have sworn. Yeah, okay. So there's no fine? All right, thanks, Byron. So far your plan is get rid of something that is already gone. Great.
For health insurance policy, I'm not going to touch. So you have to actually get rid of the regulatory burdens.
It's gone. Where you been, dog? Where's it? You said 2019? Yeah, I thought so. I thought it was the first time.
You have to actually design individual plans that scale to the need of the people who need them. If you did that.
You think we're going to design, you think these health insurance companies are going to design individual plans? They could do that already. Why? All of these things he's advocating for, they could just already do all this stuff. So why aren't they doing it? There's no regulation that says they can't do that. This is. Republicans, if you're still here, your party's fucking pathetic. I started today's show by showing you Cory Booker, who's pathetic. Oof. At least he has kind of an answer. What the fuck is this? This guy doesn't even know. He doesn't even know what's in this. He doesn't know what's in the ACA. He's recycling talking points from 6 years ago. He has no clue. And he's like, we need to undo the regulatory burden so companies can do stuff that they can already do.
You'd actually probably get more people in these marketplace exchanges because the premium burden would be lower. Second big thing is about creating plans around critical care or your,
that already exists too.
Your major medical needs that might happen into the future, as opposed to a broad-based health insurance.
All of these things he's talking about already exist. They don't have a plan for you guys. And I understand, like, years and years, like 10 years now of indoctrination from these dumb motherfuckers have just told you that, like, it's the Democrats, it's the Democrats. And so that's what you guys think the plan is. The plan is just to blame Democrats. Byron Donalds is a sitting member of Congress. How the fuck does he not know any of this stuff? All of these things exist.
Plan. Third thing that was discussed a couple of years ago, the plan that actually Republicans did put forward, but John McCain killed it in the Senate. Let's be clear. What that was structured around was more critical pools run at state levels as opposed to one federal pool, which obviously is not working.
Well,
and so there are definite strategies.
Why would it work on a state level but not federally? I'd love for one of them to explain that to me. Because when I worked for the Republican Party, when I worked for Romney, it was the exact opposite. The plan was the exact. Byron Donalds is a fucking moron. If anybody thinks Byron Donalds is smart, I don't know what to tell you. Byron Donalds is one of the dumbest motherfuckers in Congress. He just like speaks really confidently. But when I worked for Romney, the Republican plan and Trump's plan and Marco Rubio's plan, Marco Rubio made fun of Trump for this. Do you remember Marco Rubio going, the lines around the state? Let's actually do it. I want to show you. There used to be a time when Republicans made fun of Trump for this lack of a plan, and now it's the plan. Let's see. I can find this. Here it is.
For example, you're the only person on the stage that's ever been fined for hiring people to work on your projects illegally. You hired some workers from Poland.
I'm the only one on the stage that's hired people. You haven't hired anybody.
Well, in fact, some of the people
and
he
by the way,
hired, well, but hold on.
I've hired,
and
by the way, I've hired tens of thousands of people over my job. You've hired
nobody.
1,000
people
You've
from
had
another
nothing
company,
but problems
from another
with your
country.
credit cards, etc.
Let me
So
say.
don't
Let
tell
me
me
say.
about
Well,
that.
let me finish
Senator,
the statement.
hold
This is
on.
important.
You haven't hired one
He
person
hired
in your life.
workers from Poland, and he had to pay $1 million or so in a judgment
wrong.
for hiring.
That's
It is,
wrong.
That's a fact.
Totally wrong.
Well, people can look it up. I'm sure people are Googling it right
I've
now. Look it up.
hired tens of-
Trump
Excuse
Polish
me.
workers. You'll see $1 million for hiring
Excuse me.
illegal workers on one of his projects.
yeah.
Yeah, he did.
You guys picked him. You guys watched him scream over somebody else and just yell wrong, and then you picked him. Look how animated he was. Yeah, remember when Trump wasn't just a corpse? Daniel said, thanks for doing what you do. Thanks, Daniel. Megan said, pitching on the toy. Good job. M's ma'am on the report card. Amy said, have you seen places like Uber and Instacart allow you to put your food on payment plans with interest? Yeah, Klarna. Med's going to be that way soon. It's already that way. You have the care credit. People already are putting their medicine on cards. Leanna Duke said, why aren't you taking ADHD meds? I explained that, but I think I have a criminal doctor maybe. And then Amy said, because in Vegas they want you at the slot machines, not the other slots. You see what Vance is saying about the group chat? No, Ty, I didn't see that. Jen, will you find that what Vance said about the group chat?
You know, it's interesting.
That happened.
I've hired tens of thousands of people over my lifetime.
Let me try and find the lines around the state. Let me try and find lines around the state here real quick. Let me see. It's supposed to be in this. Is this it?
Well, no, the nice part about you have many different plans.
Here it is.
Plan on health care. As soon as I step foot into the Oval Office.
I have to say, he lied this time. He lied. 100%. 100%.
You lied about the Polish workers.
Yeah.
You lied to the students of Trump University.
Let Senator years ago.
Oh, he lied 38 years ago. All right, I guess there's a statute of limitation on lies. Here's what you didn't hear in that answer, and this is important, guys. This is an important thing. What is your plan? I understand the lines around the state, whatever that means. This is not a game where you draw maps
and you
around.
Don't know what it
What
means.
is your plan?
That's the problem.
What is your plan on health care? You don't have a plan.
The biggest problem he
I'll
doesn't
give
know.
him 1 minute.
The biggest problem he's got is he doesn't know. You know, I watched him melt down 2 weeks ago with Chris Christie. I got to tell you, the biggest problem he's got is he really doesn't know about the lines. The biggest thing we've got, and the reason we have no competition, is because we have lines around the state, and you have essentially
we already mentioned that as part of my plan. I know what that is. But what else is part of your plan? So your only thing is to get rid of the lines around the states. What else is part of your health care plan?
The lines around the states.
That's your only
plan. And it was
plan.
almost done. No. You know
All
what
right,
that does?
I'll
That
give him
brings
time
in.
of mind. He can tell us his plan.
Excuse me. That
What's your
brings
plan?
in competition. When you get rid of the lines, it brings in competition.
Guess what? We got rid of the lines. It didn't do a goddamn thing.
So instead of having one insurance company taking care of New York or Texas, you'll have many. They'll compete, and it'll be.
They didn't. You elected him. He was wrong about fucking everything, and you're just like, actually, we're gonna put it on a hat that Trump was right about everything. Maybe that's what we ought to do next week. Is just watch Trump. Just watch Trump clips from his first presidency, and just count how many fucking times this guy was wrong, and how many of you weak-minded, cucky bitches were like, actually, he was right about everything. He was wrong. He was dead fucking wrong. We've been asking for a plan from you motherfuckers since 2015. We're 11 years in. You still don't have a fucking plan. Your plan is still Obama is bad. What if we took away more health insurance from poor people? That'll fix it. How fucking dumb do you have to be at this point to go into a voting booth and go, yeah, Trump, he was right about everything, so I'm with Trump. The level of dumb that you have to be is astounding. And what's crazy is that's millions of people in this country are functionally illiterate, functionally brain dead. I don't know what fucking world you live in. It's 11 years later. We've seen a drastic increase in health insurance. The only thing Trump has done, he removed the lines around the states. That didn't do a goddamn thing. And then he made sure that insurance companies could now reject you for having a pre-existing condition. That's it. He's just given hand jobs to the insurance companies, and he's let them nut all over you, and you're like, yay, we did it. That's all he's done. He has only made it worse, and you're like, actually, it's the Democrats' fault. Okay.
Beautiful thing.
Right. And so that's the only part of the plan? Just the lines, the interstate competition?
No, the nice part about the plan, you have many different plans.
Oh, many.
You'll have competition. You'll have so many different plans.
So now he's repeating himself.
No, I'm not repeating. No.
He repeats himself. Rubio goes, now you're repeating yourself. I don't repeat myself. Trump supporters go, he didn't repeat himself. He didn't do it. Marco Rubio drinks water funny. You guys are in a fucking cult. I forgot how bad this was. I'm getting riled up now. He repeated himself. And then he goes, no, I didn't. And you guys go, no, I didn't.
You don't repeat yourself.
Here's the guy who repeats himself.
You repeat yourself every day.
By the way, what do we know about Trump? He literally only repeats himself. He says the same fucking 12 catchphrases every time he's in front of a microphone. The election was stolen from me in 2020. Russia, Russia, Russia. Democrats are liberal, Marxist, socialist. He says the same shit every goddamn day. And yet, still, you guys are just like, no, that's not real. No, he's actually great.
I watched him, talking about repeating, I watched him repeat himself 5 times 4 weeks ago. And
I saw you repeat yourself 5 times 5 seconds ago.
I watched him.
Rubio beat his fucking ass in this debate, and then Rubio lost votes. Rubio, this is when I was still a Republican, and admittedly, like, I'm having some feelings. Rubio was kind of my guy because I fucking hated Trump. Rubio was the guy. Remember this Rubio? You guys remember this guy that, like, he used to smile. Did you know that? Did you guys know Rubio could smile? Who knew? Now he only smiles when he watches, like, videos of Palestinian kids being murdered. That's the only time his smile comes out. Remember this? Remember, I watched Trump got blasted there. I watched you lie on TV 5 times. Or repeat yourself 5 times. I watched you do it 5 seconds ago. Trump ruins everything. He has ruined Marco Rubio. He's ruined your party. You guys are all now just like vindictive little cucks. That's it. You've all just adopted this whiny bitch. This is a meltdown on TV, and then you saw the meltdown and you went, yeah, let's do this.
I watched him melt down on the stage like I've never seen anybody. I thought he came out of the swimming pool.
Speaking of repeating yourself, like I've never seen. That's what he says about everything. Because Trump's so bad with words that he doesn't know how to explain anything. So he's just like, that tree was taller like you've never seen. I had water that was colder than you've ever seen. Those people were more evil than anything you've ever seen. He says that every time. Trump has like 8 different sentences that he can spit out, and that's it. And you guys are still convinced he's smart.
I said, well,
let's talk about your
himself
plan.
Every night. It says 5 things. Everyone's dumb.
Senator
He's going to make America great
Senator
again.
Rubio.
We're going to win.
Senator
He's
Rubio,
winning in the polls. And the lines around the state. Every night. Same thing.
Senator Rubio.
Remember when the Republicans, like, I didn't like them. Or I don't like them. I don't like who they were. I don't like who I used to be. But there was a time that not everybody was a sniveling little bitch. Let's get back to these sniveling little bitches. Remember when people weren't afraid to talk about Donald Trump? They weren't afraid to criticize him, and now they're like, I don't even want to say no bad things about Donald Trump. Thanks, Daniel. Appreciate it. I did not cover the Signal chat thing, but let's see. Here's what JD Vance is saying. I didn't cover it because I just wasn't surprised. The young Republicans, all of these Turning Point USA young Republicans, they've all been infiltrated by groypers. They're all racist. They all joke about racism. I've told you guys this story before, but I went home when I was married. I was home for Thanksgiving in Utah, and my sister-in-law pulled me aside and she said, I don't know what to do about this, but like my kids and all their friends, they all say the N-word all the time. They call each other that. They call me that. They joke about it. Like all of them, the whole high school, they're just all saying the N-word all the time. Like I'm from like conservative white America. Everybody that's from conservative white America, you are lying through your fucking teeth if you say that your friends don't say the N-word. Jokingly, sometimes that they don't make racist jokes. A week ago, a guy that I was at the golf course, and I stopped by to talk to a friend of mine. He was talking. I don't know who this guy was, but a friend of mine was talking to him, and he was telling a story to my friend's girlfriend. He said the N-word 3 times, talking about like his dad, how his dad had a black friend, but like his dad would say the N-word around his black friend, and just freely. We were outside on a patio. That's how safe it is in these types of areas to say these types of things. You're all lying when you say that your friends don't do this. You're all lying when you say that your friends don't make racist jokes. You absolutely do. And from my perspective in growing up, I can tell you that at that time, I was like, oh, there's no black people around. Nobody's going to be offended about this. Or there's no Asian people around. There's no Jewish people around. This is perfectly harmless. Because to the people that are around you, it's not harmful. Like it's not harming any of those people around you. So it's easy to think that those words are harmless. In a vacuum, I would agree that they didn't hurt anybody in a vacuum. Nobody hurt them. If a tree falls in the woods, does it make a sound? Right? But like when it gets out, you guys all pretend like you all pretend you're surprised, and like this isn't all of you. This is all of you. I don't have a single Republican friend who doesn't make racist jokes. Not one. None of you do either. Every Republican does this. All of you guys do racist things. You don't pretend that you don't. So when I saw the text messages, I wasn't surprised. I didn't even really think it was that newsworthy. It's newsworthy to people who don't live in that world because it's shocking. It's alarming. But for those of us who have lived in this world, it's like that's exactly who I expect to be in Republican politics. There are Republicans and then there are Republican politicians. And the Republican politicians, the people that work in the GOP, I've never been around more racist people than when I worked in the GOP. It is the most like outwardly racist group of people I've ever been around. It's true. And you're lying if you say that that's not true. It's 100% true. Don't ever believe a Republican that says that their group chat with their Republican friends doesn't have a bunch of racist jokes in it. Don't ever say that. Anybody that's a converted Republican here, raise your hand. Did everybody around you, if you're from a Republican area, you're a converted Republican, did everybody around you make racist jokes at one point or another? Or at the very least, did they not ever say anything when somebody said a racist joke? Raise your hand. You all know this is true. Everybody who's grown up around Republicans knows this is absolutely fucking true. You weren't shocked by that? Aren't those messages exactly what you thought they would say? In fact, I was a little alarmed. I was like, hey, it could have been a lot worse. Did they get everything? This could have been way worse. Everybody knows that that's true. So that's why I didn't cover it, because I don't want to have the argument with the Republicans in the chat where they're like, yeah, you're taking one thing out of context. Bull fucking shit. We've all been around you. Like we all see, I've been in private discords before. I used to have this alt discord when I first started this because I wanted to see what the psychos were saying. And then I was like, I got to get the fuck out of here. But there are some people, some members of our mod team and some other friends I have that are left-wing creators that have infiltrated these areas. I know what you guys are saying. It's not alarming at all. It's exactly what I thought you were all saying. What is this? Oh, shit. Oh, this is. Okay, JD Vance said, this is far worse than anything said in a college group chat, and the guy who said it could become the AG of Virginia. I refuse to join the pearl clutching when powerful people call for political violence. You weren't simply asking questions, I genuinely was. I wasn't attacking you. I was trying to understand your logic. You weren't trying to understand. You were talking about hoping Jennifer Gilbert's children would die. Oh, I know about this. Oh, this is this guy. Yeah, this was after the Charlie Kirk thing. Or after a shooting, and said, like, he wished that this was kind of gross. I don't remember what the guy's name was. The guy running for AG of Virginia. This is why we call you guys bitches. This is what you should really be talking about. That's all JD Vance ever does. Anytime anything comes up, this is what you should really be talking about. I'm not going to talk about these other people. But yeah, it was gross what this person said, the AG of Virginia. It absolutely was. I've gone back and forth on this with somebody on Twitter not that long ago. And my argument was that, I don't remember what the person's name was, again, in Virginia, but the argument was Charlie Kirk saying that it's worth a few people losing their life to protect our gun rights. I didn't see a big difference between these two things. In both cases, you're saying that to prove a point, people need to die. I didn't think it was that different than Charlie Kirk. I think this is the same thing. But J.D. Vance is like, I'm not going to condone racist because somebody in Virginia said something bad. Oh, okay. Okay. Or maybe you're just a racist. Could be. Was there other things he said? Mary said best 15 minutes. Thank you, guys. Oh, this is it. Maybe. Did he actually speak publicly about this? Oh, I clicked on the bulwark instead of the link, I think. What is this link? Why is this link not working? Okay, here it is. I haven't seen this yet, so I'm not sure what this is.
By focusing on what kids are saying in a group chat, grow up. I'm sorry.
These aren't kids. Whoa, 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 whoa. These aren't kids. These are adults. There are people. I don't know if you guys know this. There were people on that chat that were in their 40s and 50s. These are like these are college age kids and above. These weren't children. All right, JD.
Focus on the real issues. Don't focus on what kids say in group chats. But there's another angle to this that I just have to be honest about. I mean, I'm like an old guy at this point.
I don't care about that. I'm going to brand all of these people. These aren't kids. These are all adults. Everybody on that group chat was an adult. I don't care about it because I'm going to dismiss it as kids. But now the JD Vance thing, and we're going to will you guys call this out every time you talk to Republicans? The JD Vance never answers questions. JD Vance just tells you what question you should care about every fucking time he's asked a hard question.
To this that I just have to be honest about. I mean, I'm like an old guy at this point. I'm 41 years old. I have 3 kids. You know, I grew up in a different world, right? Where not most of the stupid things that I did when I was a teenager and a young adult, they're not on the internet. Like, I'm going to tell my kids, especially my boy.
Yeah, but the generation that grew up before you did a lot of awful things that you didn't do, and you criticize the generation before you, right? So, like, when you talk about segregation, you talk about Jim Crow laws, you talk about women's suffrage, like, we were all critical of the generations before us, too, and they lived in a different world, too. Why do we always want to dismiss people from, like, a different generation? Yeah, JD, you said some shit. And by the way, I'm very grateful that I didn't grow up in an era where I was online all the time and the things that I said were available publicly. Because the reason I know that all Republicans talk like this is because I was a Republican and I also talked like this. Okay? And and at the time I thought it was a joke. It was funny to me. Because I didn't know a single Jewish person. We made anti-Semitic jokes. I knew one black person close when I was a junior in high school. Before that, I didn't know a single black person. We'd make jokes about Hispanic people. I didn't know. Some of the things we said, I didn't even know they were actual racial slurs. So I understand that. But that doesn't minimize the impact. That doesn't mean that I was justified. That doesn't mean that I shouldn't be ashamed for it. And ultimately what it means is that I should probably use my time now to make sure that, like, I wasn't, or I'm not helping people, like, relive what I did. I'm deeply ashamed of the person that I was. Deeply ashamed of it. I don't go back to high school reunions because I don't want to be around those same people. I'm deeply ashamed. It sucks. And I know that if there was a record of me, like, every Republican who knows me, they would use that against me. I would be absolutely crucified online for the things I said. I know for certain there was a tweet that I sent out that I almost got fired for. I don't exactly remember what it was. I don't remember how the tweet went, but it was something about Black Friday, and I called it like African American Friday or something. I don't remember what it was, but I was working for an NBA G League team, and my boss called me in and was like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Why the fuck would you say that? And I was like, oh, it's just an innocent joke. He's like, dude, we're a G League team. Like, look at our players. Do they look like you? That's how could you possibly do that? It got deleted within like 5 minutes. I didn't get fired. I probably should have been fired. But, like, shame the fuck out of people like this. Shame the fuck out of them. You don't have to hurt them. You shouldn't be calling for violence against them, but shame the ever-living fuck out of them, because that one instance changed the trajectory of my life. Legitimately, it changed how I speak from one instance. This does matter. Show their faces, talk about them, shame the fuck out of them, but not JD Vance. JD Vance is like, oh, look, I'm going to soften this real quick because I know that if I go off about racists right now, I'm going to lose my whole fucking voter base. That's what you're actually seeing. They know who their base is just as well as I do, just as well as you do. They're all racist. And if you start talking about how bad it is that people said this, people are going to look at their own text messages and they're going to be like, oh, you know what? Oh, that's me too. I hope my text messages don't get released. Shame them. Nothing wrong with that.
They're not on the internet. Like, I'm going to tell my kids, especially my boys, don't put things on the internet. Like, be careful with what you post. If you put something in a group chat, assume that some scumbag is going to leak it in an effort to try to cause you harm or cause your family harm. But the reality is that kids do stupid things, especially young boys. They tell edgy, offensive jokes. Like, that's what kids do.
That's not what they're doing, though, right? These kids are coming together as part of a political apparatus. This isn't their group of friends. These are nationwide group texts with other leaders within the party. These are leaders in the Republican Party. I don't know why JD Vance is calling them kids. These are leaders. These are the Turning Point USA kids. These are the young Republicans. These are people who, in many cases, were voted into their position by other Republicans. This isn't some dumb shit that you like, some off-color joke that you tell in front of your friends. Like, everybody here does. Everybody has things that they say. Probably. I shouldn't say that because maybe this is going to make me look bad. I think that most people outside of their online life, in groups of friends, they'll make jokes that are insensitive. I use this joke a lot, but like, I deal with my shit with like dark humor. Jen's the same way. She deals with her shit with dark humor. A lot of us are that way, especially if you've had, like, I haven't had a ton of trauma, but people that have had trauma in their life, a lot of them develop dark humor as their coping mechanism and as a way to like not make other people be uncomfortable. You've dealt with it, so you use dark humor. You probably wouldn't use some of those same jokes at a funeral. You probably wouldn't use a lot of those same jokes like at work when you're speaking in front of a group of people. You might not make those same jokes at a commencement ceremony, right? So we all say things behind closed doors that we wouldn't say publicly, but this isn't behind closed doors. This is public. These are their coworkers. These are the other people who are working on party politics. This is their job. These are people at their job who feel that freely they can just talk about their love of Hitler and their disdain for black people. This isn't a closed group. This is an open group of Republicans who are in leadership positions talking like this. It's very, very different.
And I really don't want us to grow up in a country where a kid telling a stupid joke, telling a very offensive stupid joke, is cause to ruin their lives. And at some point, we're all going to have to say, enough of this BS. We're not going to allow the worst moment in a 21-year-old's group chat to ruin a kid's life for the rest of time. That's just not okay. Like, we live in a digital world. This stuff is now etched in stone online. We're all going to have to say, you know what? No. We're not doing this. We're not.
Yeah, but you called Trump Hitler for doing this exact same shit. Like, you're totally cool. You guys were more than happy to crush Tim Walz for stuff that you thought were misstatements. You guys were more than happy to sit by and call Kamala Harris a whore. You're more than happy to do all this shit on the left. But when it's you guys and it's obviously racist things, oh, suddenly it's a big fucking problem.
Canceling kids because they do something stupid in a group chat. And if I have to be the person who carries that message forward, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, JD, you are the person. You are the racist apologist. That's your job. That's the message that you're carrying forward. Let me get to messages and then we'll get out. I don't know if we're even close on the goal. Kristen said, sorry, I've been broke. Back on the train. Thanks, Kristen. Join the club. We're all broke. I appreciate those of you who are able to contribute. Let me get through some super chats, and then I got to get out of here. Lee said, to help keep the lights on, love your show. Thanks, Lee. Leanne said, don't be ashamed. A lot of us have been where you were. You have more than atoned. Look, it just never ends. I think that's one thing that I've really appreciated about this group of people that watches our show. Whenever I talk about my past, nobody around me says it's okay that you did that. don't worry about it. I appreciate that. What people say is, I'm glad you learned your lesson. That's the right thing. That's the right way to handle that. I do somewhat I agree with JD Vance because I've been in that position. But the solution is not to ignore it. The solution is to address it. I agree. That doesn't mean that these kids' lives have to be over if they're kids. Like if it's an 18-year-old kid who's born and raised the same way I did, I can't close the door and say I'm never going to forgive that person because that was me and it took me a lot longer than it took them. But ignoring it's also not the solution. Nothing would have happened if my boss didn't pull me aside and say that. Nothing. And I think a lot of times we just fear like going against the grain and being the person that stands up for those things. I just think that's where like this MAGA party is. We never admit that you did anything wrong, never apologize, never change your ways. Just everything you do is right, and everything everybody does in your party is forgivable. And on the other side, nothing is forgivable. I do agree with JD Vance that this stuff is not unforgivable, but it requires work from the people involved. I'm not going to forgive them until they do something about it. I'm not going to move on until they do something about it. Are they out there apologizing? If they were out there profusely apologizing, be like, I didn't recognize the impact. I've had conversations with people. I now recognize the impact. I'm going to give that person some leeway. And I'm going to say, okay, let's see what you do with it now. Let's see if you learned your lesson. I'll give you a little leeway. Let's see if you learned your lesson. But JD wants us to just ignore it and call all these people kids. Again, there were people in their 40s and 50s on this group chat. These were not children. All of them were of age, as far as I know. I don't know of any of them that were underage. Burnout Medic, thanks for the super chat. Ty said, so Charlie Kirk canceled them, but not the group chat. Charlie Kirk canceled them, but not the group chat. I'm not sure what that means. Sorry, Ty. I'm not sure what you mean by that. I don't know how to respond to that. And then let me check Jen's real quick. Get out of here. Alyssa, thank you very much. Did I miss any other ones? I think that's it. I did not update the gift goal. I can do it. There we go. All right, guys, we'll be back tonight. Gift goals updated. If anybody wants to finish that off before we go or after we go, that's fine too. But tonight, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch, we'll be having debates. Just remember that if you want to debate, if you're a Republican, you've got to be on TikTok. We take the guests on TikTok for that. That'll be at 6 p.m. tonight until whenever. No show tomorrow. Initially, I thought that early out day meant that I didn't have to do lunch duty. But turns out that lunch comes before the end of school, so I still have to be at my daughter's school tomorrow for lunch duty. But for now, we're going to go to the toy store, and I'm going to hope that she doesn't bleed me dry. Thanks, guys, for being here, and I appreciate all the donations, all the support, all the subscribers. Make sure that you are a paid subscriber if you want to join us for our member-only events that will start on Monday. We'll be doing a series. I'll just give you a hint. It's just some videos that impacted my life. I'm going to go, I'm going to show you stuff that on my journey, I hate saying that word, that sounds cliche, the path that I took to be politically where I am. I want to show some of the videos that really impacted me and some of the debates and documentaries that got me to shift my mind. Hopefully that'll be interesting for you guys, and I'll announce more about that on Friday, but make sure you're a paid member so you can join us there. Other than that, take care of yourselves, take care of your mental health, stay cute and cool, and have a great summer.